It's Halloween and I have a production app with real users and I need to ship this feature today. Cursor just dropped their 2.0 update with agent mode and Composer 1 and a bunch of claims about faster shipping. So I want to find out, can these new features actually take me from an idea to ship literally in one session? And you're going to watch me basically plan, build, and ship this Halloween mode for AnimeLeak, which is probably going to have bugs, prompts, and everything. And before we jump in, here's what you'll actually see, which is basically my planning process, how I prompt the new agent mode, where it breaks, and how I fix it, and whether this actually really cooks. So this is the app called AnimeLeak, and this is what I basically do. If you haven't had a chance to, you could just go to animeleak.com. You can basically just get 10 free credits to go ahead and get started. And anyone who signs up here on the stream, I'm basically just going to go into the database and directly start adding credits to anyone who signs up. So I'll have that set up. So what we do here is basically sign in. I'm just going to go ahead and sign in here. And what's nice about it is like you could just upload a photo of yourself or of a friend or anything, and it's going to actually introduce some anime type of effects. And so what the reason is I actually have not started the server, so I should probably start the server. So go ahead and get that going. So bun dev, and that's probably why it's failing to load. So I go back here and just going to reload this. I should be able to kind of re-off myself back in. And so, yeah, this is the type of thing that you see kind of happening. There's some anime leaks. So what I want to do for the special Halloween edition is have a toggle when people upload their image to see if they want to like have this new Halloween mode activated. So that way, instead of drawing this cool anime style stuff, we'll also include some elements for Halloween. And I think it'd be kind of cool. And right now you could just get credits if you just go ahead and, buy them for $5. But anyone who hops in, you're going to get 10 credits for free anyways, as soon as you just sign in. And then I'm going to just drop in some more. So that way you can kind of try this out, because I want to have everyone try this out live. And that would be really cool for us. So yeah, this is pretty cool. It's kind of like it honors the intelligence of what's going on in the image, and you can kind of see how it has a little bit of fun. So this is kind of like cute little stuff like this is what I want to do. And that way you can kind of share this transformation. This is all basically live right now on animeleak.com. So go ahead and try that out. And then you can say, I want to create my own. And then you can just come in here and just drop an image. So what I'm going to do now here in Cursor is try their new plan mode. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this situated as well. Big shout outs to Tech Friend. How's it going, Tech Friend? What's going on, man? I got the blur hotkey. Yeah, for sure. Isn't that the best? Sader, how's it going, man? Good evening. It's actually good morning here in Hawaii, which is really beautiful right now. And I'm going to go ahead and just hide this for the agent. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use Sonnet for planning. I could also try Composer 1. I think this is last time I tried Composer 1, it was pretty good. But I want to try Sonnet like thinking plan, because I hear that Sonnet for planning is really good. Hit Shift Tab a couple times for plan, and we could try a couple different versions. With Cursor's 2.0 thing, they also have a thing called a WorkTree. So we can actually try to build and do this entire feature completely separate, so that I can maybe run this in a parallel thing, maybe run this in a Droid as well, and see who does better and stuff like that. As of right now, I think I'll just do this plan first on my local environment, and then kind of see if I can maybe kick off a different WorkTree. And I'll show you what that looks like in the future. And there's also a cloud version that we can run. There's a lot of different things we can do here, but I don't want to get too confusing. So it's pretty simple as far as what we're going to go ahead and do. So for the plan, I'm just going to yap my plan right now. I want to make an update to my plan where users can have a toggle, because today is October 31st, Halloween day. And I'm going to have a special Halloween prompt that I'm going to use for generating images that are related to adding some Halloween style elements. So the goal is that, and I'm going to have you look through all the different pieces of my code from where images are generated, and help me also define a nice user experience so that it's really clean and really simple. This app is very clean and very simple, and we want to use the existing elements and features and not have to rewrite new code here. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I wish I can kick off. Can I kick off multiple plans? Yes. Oh, it does it in the WorkTree. Oh, that's cool. Oh, so we can see the difference now between two models. Wow. Okay, I'll do 1x here. Okay. So this is what we're going to do in plan mode now. I can set up two plans. Let's go. This is fire. But let's go ahead and see what the difference is between that and like a GPT-5 high as well. Let's get high. Oh, this is nice. Yo, That's fire. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 plans kick off. This is amazing. Nothing like cooking in the morning for sure. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're not gonna cook 1 plan. We're gonna cook 3 plans. And I've been really curious to see how a plan can kick off in parallel like this. And now you can actually do that. So in this drop down, you'll see this little numbers on the side, and then this will allow you to select the different things here. So I can kick off X amount of instances of any model if I want, simply just by selecting them, and then I hit Shift Tab to get into plan mode. And let's go ahead and do this. It automatically pops us into a work tree, and that's going to be interesting to see how it gets this set up. Yo, this is fire. I'm not going to lie. This is crazy. This is actually kind of new. Oh, man. So we're watching this live. Click here to configure a WorkTree script. Okay, I haven't configured a WorkTree script setup script yet, but I don't think I need to do that. Damn, bro. This is like this is an Easter egg for sure. Add an Easter egg. Oh, that'd be cool for the thing. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. So we can see these. Damn, composer's fast. Holy smokes. Dude, this is exciting. Okay. Just finished watching an Alex Finn live. I just hopped into yours. Might pick something up. Yo, what's going on, man? Alex Finn, if you're in the chat, what's going on, man? What are these 1x, 2x settings next to the models? That's exactly what we're doing. So the 1x, 2x settings allows us to run different plans in parallel, and they kick off a work tree. So work tree will basically clone our GitHub entire like GitHub code into like a different, what they call like a work tree. So in that workspace, the agents can run without overriding files. Because typically whenever you clone anything from GitHub, that's going to put into a folder. And if you have 2 agents acting on the same folder, they can override each other, and that can be a problem. So when you create a work tree, you're basically saying, here's an isolated environment, go ahead and operate in that. So that's something that GitHub has provided before, but now it's actually integrated inside of Cursor, and you can kind of see how we kick that off without running any Git commands or anything like that. We just literally enabled another model, and it was smart enough to kind of kick that off for us. And that's up here. And I was not able to kick off multiple plans with different actual features. And now you can actually do that, which I find super valuable. And the other thing that I like about this idea is now I can actually compare these plans and then maybe just center on a plan that I really like. For example, what if it's Sonnet 4.5 that I like, but I'll get some ideas from Composer. I'll also get some ideas from GPT-5 High. And that's usually, those are like my favorite planning modes, like GPT-5 High. It used to be Opus, and now I'm using Sonnet 4.5 High. And then Composer 1 too, right? I mean, why not get the best of all the worlds and then maybe combine the ideas together? This is very exciting, and it kicks off the work tree. So the work tree is isolated. I might do a little bit of a drawing like that soon once we kind of kick off some of these plans. So where should the Halloween toggle appear? Near the upload area, in the header with other controls, or next to the camera button, or in the upload flow before clicking the upload. The upload, sorry, let's see. The toggle for this should be in the upload area. I want it to be big and playful so that users know as soon as they're gonna drop something in that it's right in front of their face. Because this is a special mode for a special event, this is just sort of a temporary type of thing, and I want to make it extremely obvious. I think that's one part of it right there. And then the other questions are, should the Halloween toggle state persist? So I'm just going to do 1.space2, and then I'm just going to do here. Okay, should the, yeah. Yes, the Halloween toggle should persist state, and because we're using Convex, we should be able to write that into the user's preference. So that way we always know what it is, no matter what browser they have up. And then what's the other one? What should happen on Halloween day itself? Enable visible to opt out. Toggle remains option in even on Halloween, or something else. On Halloween day, we can just have it enabled by default, and we'll want to show something to the user, almost like a pop-up saying this is a new mode that we've enabled, and they can toggle it off should they wish. And that way they know that this is on by default, and it's almost like a mini onboarding flow for this feature. Remember, we have to keep these things extremely simple and lightweight. the simpler the better as far as UI design and UX experience. The app is already fairly minimal. So if we can do this in a nice, tasteful way that's minimal, this is going to be the best thing ever. Okay. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and see if I can submit that to the update to the plan. And let me go ahead and go to Sonnet now. And so I'll help you add a toggle Halloween feature. And it says, where should and so this asks similar questions in the header next to the camera button. So it's interesting that Sonnet 4.5 is more specifically like asking specifically where, like, hey, where do you want to add it? Like near the drop zone or as a floating special badge banner temporarily behind the Halloween event field. And so this is an interesting question because I thought that was really insightful from a planning perspective, that it's kind of giving me that type of idea in its own little type of thing. Let's see, let me just answer these questions then. So in the header next to the camera button, always visible, near the upload drop zone. Yeah, contextual. As a floating special badge banner. Temporary Halloween event peel. I like this idea of having a... Oh, actually, I think having it near the upload drop zone is going to be really important because that's where the users intend to upload these images. Okay. I just thought of another feature I'm going to add in a little bit later. Should the Halloween mode work? So user toggles on, all new uploads, user prompt toggles off, back to normal. Yes. Okay. Per image upload, ask each time. No. Okay. So for Halloween mode, it should just be toggled on by default and stay toggled on until the user toggles it off. And let's see, should existing pending processes respect the current toggle state? Existing pending processes, okay. It's only going forward. No, it'd only be for those going forward that this toggle state will be used. And then how should we indicate Halloween mode is active? So I'm planning to have a designer give me an SVG file that's really tiny, almost like an icon. And that's what we're going to overlay into the button. And I want this to be a little bit big and playful because it's a Halloween. So it'll literally just be a pumpkin icon. In the meantime, if you can find like a pumpkin emoji or a pumpkin placeholder of some sort to sort of give us an idea of the size, it'd be really nice. Okay. I like this idea of a festive visual treatment on the upload zone as well with the orange glow and Halloween themed borders. So I think we should also play around with that as well because that would be really obvious as far as to the user what's going on and it captures their attention immediately. So far, I'm liking these questions from Sonnet 4.5. I didn't realize it would actually ask these types of detailed questions. Should the Halloween prompt be permanent or time limited? Available year round. Only available October 1st to 2nd. Always available. Okay. As of now, it's going to be time limited. So if I myself as an admin enable this feature, it'll start showing up for everyone. I think that'll be the easiest. Okay, so that's a lot of that there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and submit that. So for those who are just tuning in right now, if you haven't just kind of catching this whole live stream vibe, what we're doing, we're currently in the plan phase of this entire live stream. So we're planning the features to be built. We're going to build it, and then we're going to ship all of our features here. And the feature is literally just enabling a toggle mode. I have this app called AnimeLeak. Right now, when you do an upload, it basically does some anime type of drawings on your upload. You can try it for free right now on animeleak.com. And anyone who signs up right now, you'll get 10 credits, but I'm just going to add some like a bunch of credits to you. After you sign up, I'm just going to go into the database after I kind of kick off some processes and just start upgrading everyone who's signed in. And what's nice about what we've started right now in Cursor, I found out that when you start in agent mode and with the new agent window, if you hit at the very top, you can select between agents and editor. In plan mode, you can now select multiple models. So we selected Composer, we've selected Sonnet 4.5, and we have also selected GPT-5 High. And what I found interesting was that fact that Composer asked us some questions. It wasn't at a level of detail that Sonnet 4.5 asked us. Sonnet 4.5 seemed to have extra sauce. He asked us 5 different questions, more UI, UX specific. And I'm really excited that it asked me those level of detail of questions compared to Composer 1. But we can't judge a book by its cover, because I feel like Composer 1 can maybe act differently on that information. And then Sonnet 4.5 can also do the same as well. Yeah, I feel like sometimes Sonnet 4.5 can be like showing you lots of intelligence, but as far as acting on that information, that will be to be determined. So we're currently in the build and the plan phase. The next phase we're going to enter is the build phase after we take care of this planning session. But I wanted to kind of break this stream apart in those 3 different sections. So right now we're currently in the plan phase, if you're just kind of tuning in, trying to figure out what's going on now. All right, so here we are. Perfect. I can see the pattern. Use a single tin pattern like building settings for admin controlled feature flags. And now let me create a comprehensive plan. Okay, cool. So this is our plan now for this this one here. So this is what it created. And we can tell we're in the Sonnet 4.5. Now it's actually just awaiting a plan review. I'm going to minimize this terminal. Actually, I'm going to kill the terminal and just put this here. So let's just kind of review the plan. So it's going to add admin control Halloween mode. And this is something that I didn't specify in my Composer plan, so I'll have to make sure I mention that. When enabled, users' image transforms will use special Halloween theme prompt and standard image prompt. So the implementation plan shows the backend. So feature flag, schema, and admin controls are here. So that's pretty cool. So this is the new singleton pattern. So it's going to check for this. And then add Halloween admin features in here. So for the query, we can kind of go ahead and do that. And then the backend for the user preferences is just now going to add this new Halloween mode as far as for the user. I like this idea. And then for the image creation, it's going to go into the image blob and modify this mutation to accept the original parameter and store this flag on a created image. So now every image will know if it was created in a specific mode. I love this plan. This is really great. So the backend now will actually do a prompt integration. So it's going to add the Halloween mode as an optional to generate args. So that way it's backwards compatible. And then the Halloween specific prompt is going to transform the object with the spooky elements. So this is where I'm going to have to work on the prompting side of things. So that's a separate section here. And then use conditional logic. If Halloween mode is true, use the Halloween prompt. Otherwise, a standard prompt. Beautiful. The front end user toggle says create Halloween toggle component. And so it's going to make a switch for this component, which I like as well. The separation of concerns. This plan is amazing. Display a pumpkin emoji as a temporary icon. Designer will provide SVG icon later. And then local state management in the parent. And then here are the props it's going to pass in. I'm so impressed with this plan so far. And we're only halfway through it. Integration with the main upload flow is the page here. What I like also about planning like this, by the way, and this is kind of why I appreciate Cursor's new 2.0, like putting the agent's conversation and plan mode right to the front and center, is it's very readable. Typically, especially when I had Claude Code, Codex, or anything, when I'm doing any types of plans, it's really hard sometimes to read some of the markdown. And even if they do kind of do some type of markdown formatting, it's not as detailed like this or user-friendly. And I actually really appreciate this. And this iteration, I think, is really important if you're prompting or building apps. Getting very clear on all these different sections is probably where you should spend a lot of your time before shipping the features, because everything else is reversible from this point forward. You can throw away all the code that gets generated if it doesn't turn out to be as good as you think. You can take everything you've learned from implementing from a model, come back to the plan and say, we've tried these things and these don't work, or these conventions. Can you help us come up with a better plan or convention? Because now we realize maybe the singleton format causes a lot of race conditions or something like that. You'll learn those by doing them. So don't be afraid of just acting and doing things. That's why I do these live streams, because I don't know. We're doing it live together and we're figuring it out. No model's perfect, but I encourage you to definitely go ahead and play around with these things. So here we are with the front end integration now. And what it says is it's going to update the main page to use query to fetch the global Halloween settings, and then add the local state and pass a Halloween mode. So for the visual enhancements are here and the border colors here. And so what I'm always kind of weary when I start seeing stuff like this, because in Tailwind v4, we have a tokenization system, and this is interesting, but I want to maybe do a follow-up prompt here and then maybe give it some MCP usage. So I just found out recently that the EXA code MCP is actually available for free. So as for a limited time right now, if you just say use Exa code for the MCP, it's going to go grab all this documentation from Exa, and you get to use it for free, which is awesome. And so with that, I'm going to basically tell it about Tailwind v4, and also tell it to go read up on some of the Convex conventions to make sure we properly use the hooks and queries so that we're not actually over-engineering some of these stateful things. A lot of these language models like to prefer what's in their training set. And even though we may have some cursor rules or we may have some convex rules, in the planning mode, it's more specific to call them out and making sure that those are front and center, because that's what's going to be loaded in the context of the model when it's producing the code. So as an additional reminder, it's really good to kind of have that there if you're basically doing this type of workflow. And so this is kind of what we're doing there. So this is kind of a note to self. I'm going to make sure I say, I want you to use ref for search MCP and also use Exa code MCP to look up some of the following conventions. First is how Convex integrates queries and hooks into my app from the front end to the back end, and how to do things the Convex way. And the second one is to see how we can integrate some of the visual enhancements and the design changes with our existing design system, since we're using Tailwind CSS v4, ShadCN, and a lot of other things. So you'll need to look through my app and find where these things happen in the code, and then use these MCPs to look up some of the documentation and then update our plan accordingly. Okay, so that's going to be that there. So this is just some of the feedback for the plan that I have. So for those who are wondering, I'm actually using a thing called WhisperFlow. WhisperFlow is amazing, as you can kind of see how it does that formatting just from me talking. Super impressive. I have a flow. I think it's rfer.me/whisper, WISPR. And I believe I have a link in the description. If not, I'll just type this in the chat right now. So I'll just say https://rfer.me/whisper. And so that will get you, I think, some months or something for free, or whatever it is to sign up. Yeah, it's super awesome. And I appreciate everyone who's been able to kind of, sign on and sign up with that, because it actually does support the channel now. I've signed up for the little affiliate plan, which is great. And I love it. I use it nearly every stream. Okay, so this front-end admin dashboard elements here is now going to have a feature flag for this. And we're going to polish any edge cases like a skeleton spinner. That's so cool. I love how Sonnet gets really creative with this. Disable toggle during mutation. That's awesome. If Halloween query returns null, assume the feature is off. Yes. If global settings off, then hide toggle. Okay, this is great. Add some spooky magic. This is really nice. So it also knows about my brand alignment. So this is really cool. Oh yeah. So I also have some branding that I'll have some branding guidelines that I'm going to give it as well in the future, so that we'll have that. But it already has the files outlined to modify. Here's a prompt design draft. So this is now going to update my prompt for the Nano Banana image generation. And I like how it's now adding in this prompt literally in my plan that I can review, right? So for foods and objects, it's going to transform them into Halloween treats with pumpkin faces and ghost toppings with witch brew effects. And the next thing is going to say, it's going to take a look at any objects that are held, like glowing jack-o'-lanterns, and adds these types of things to their image, which I find super genius if you can kind of think about this. And then the clothing is going to actually have some costume elements with like cloaks, vampire capes. Like, this is going to be a really fun app, and I think it's going to be really fun for people to try out. Low-key, I think it might go viral, so we'll find out. Okay, so this is really cool. Let's see. Admin can toggle Halloween on and off from dashboard. Okay, this is pretty cool. I think we're good with this plan, but I'm going to go ahead and give it this update here so we can check a look and make sure that we follow the conventions and call those out in our plan. I really like the plan from Sonnet 4.5. And I'm glad that we're able to compare the differences between these two and then take advantage of this new thing called WorkTree that's currently inside of Cursor that basically allows you to split the code up or literally duplicate the code in these different sections and kind of operate in this way. And now we're seeing ref tools go ahead and search the documentation, search these types of args and validators for TypeScript, also use Exa code to go ahead and grab these files. And the reason why I'm using a lot of these MCPs is because I don't like to really use MCP servers in general, but the ones that I actually do use are extremely token efficient. So they don't actually consume a lot of the context window for generating plans or for working in your code base. And with that type of thing, I feel like it's extremely important to make sure you keep these things lightweight. So they offload a lot of that work, do the processing on their end, and they just bring you back whatever is relevant, which is like kind of magical if you think about it. Okay. So that's not the built-in voice for Cursor. Correct. That the voice thing I was using was basically the one from Whisperflow for sure. MCPs eat up tokens. Yes, they do. But these ones are most token efficient. So it may even use up like 2,000 or so tokens for this entire run for the whole planning mode, which I find extremely efficient. So I've been using the crap out of Exa and Ref. Thanks for the videos on it, Ray. Really enjoy your streams. Looking forward to them. I'm so glad, man. Dude, those two have made my agentic coding just come up to a whole different level. It's given me a lot of confidence, especially when there's new releases for either updates to like Next.js 16 that's going to be coming out, Tailwind V4. You can start to see the more you're coding, the more you start to see hints that the model's preferring, Tailwind V3. You just kind of kick it back into gear by telling it, check out these things. You don't overwhelm the context window. It just grabs the relevant stuff and brings them right into the conversation at the right time, especially in the planning mode. So for those who are just kind of tuning in, if you're having some problems, making sure you get these things nailed down in a plan, especially with the documentation references early on, is going to really help the model stay in line to generate code in the future. And I think once we do this, like landing the features is going to be super fast. I feel like most of the stream is going to be planning, but then we're going to get into the build and then we're going to get into the ship phase of things. So like actually getting this live into production. So that'll be really, really cool. And I just kind of want to give a heads up on that. So this guy is super excited. Hello, how's it going? Let's see. What's the best option to run an AI system that can see my screen and assist me with real-time voice? Are you a plant from Google right now? Because Google Gemini has this feature. If you just go to AI, I think it's AI Studio, you can have it watch your screen and talk to the agent. How good it is, I don't know. Okay. Next.js did an MCP server, by the way. It's super good. Okay, I'll have to actually check that out. That'd be really cool. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at this plan now. Okay, so here we are. So we've basically seen it now go through all of these like different documentation plans and everything. And so now we're back here. I'm going to go ahead and download the plan. And then I'm just going to go ahead and view said plan here. So here we are. Here's our newest updated plan, I believe. Is this from here? I'm trying to see. Okay, so now we actually have more details, right? The plan is a little bit more detailed out. It calls out specific queries. So no public query, no auth, fallback defaults and stuff. That's cool. So this is going to basically make it like an internal is enabled. Okay. Admin mutation is not going to have this. So this actually went through my code base itself and looked through the parts of code and is actually calling out these like specific features to change in the code. So this is very helpful too. If you're like I said, this is the reason why I like the new Cursor 2.0, because it brings everything front and center in the planning phases. And I can actually kind of review and see, so this is something that Sonnet likes to do now, add emojis and comments and it calls them out. So you'll start seeing this, by the way, if you start to do this type of thing. So conditional prompt selection. So this is going to have our Halloween prompt or otherwise fall back to the standard prompt. And then here's a new playful one for the 80-20 thing. And then here's the front end toggle for the component. So it's going to say use client. It nearly damn wrote the whole code. And it uses the CN utility for the tills for conditional classes. This is hot. And then here's the main page integration. So what are we going to do here? So add convex hooks following the existing structure. So we're going to do Halloween settings and look for the query. So this is making sure that if the user has this enabled, it's saved to the database. We pull it right back down at the time that the page loads. We're going to have a state that's false and then kind of do some type of magic to show it. So don't show the toggle feature if it's disabled, which is nice. As an admin, I can disable this feature without shipping another update to the app. And here's the component placement. So we're going to have the shallowing. We're going to basically show the Halloween toggle when this is true. This is really cool. And for the admin side, I have the admin code here. So this is a pretty massive plan. Now we have admin cases here, and then here's the back end. So here's the files we're going to modify, and here's the front end, just 3 files there. And here's all the different tasks. So this is to me, I feel like this plan is ready to start working on. Let's just kind of take a look at the GPT-5 High plan. I may not need to go in that much detail now with GPT-5 High. What I'll do maybe is just grab some of the details from GPT-5 High and see if I can pull those into this bigger plan. Also take a look and see what happened in Composer as well. So we're currently in the plan phase. We're about to start building next, and then we're going to see how the build comes out and then see if we can actually ship this live, because so far on this stream, how long have we been on the stream? Only 30 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. You know, I was expecting to spend a lot longer figuring this out, but this is really cool. Let's go to GPT-5 High. So GPT-5 High did a quick scan. It says, I traced the generation flow end to end and found the exact spots to hook a user toggle in. Before I draft the plan, here's 2 quick choices. So it says, where should I place the Halloween toggle live? It's asking for this same question as Sonnet. And then the default behavior is only for today. If you don't reply, I'll proceed with A or A. It's basically this and this. Maybe I don't understand this logic here. So this spent, how long did this plan spend thinking? This is interesting. So it's searched through a lot of files and did a lot of searching in my code base. Like it did a lot of exploration and then kind of came up with this thing here. Oh, man, I'm not too impressed with its questioning. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just going to move forward with the Sonnet 4.5 because we really, really cooked here. And I love the details of this plan. Here we are. Yeah, here's the Halloween mode plan. Okay, cool. And the last thing that I'm going to do here is introduce this new concept called Stacked Diffs. So if you haven't heard of this concept, this is something I recently learned this last week from Graphite. I talked to the co-founder of Graphite, and like this concept has been around for a little while actually before this, but basically what it allows us to do is separate our feature into these different small phases. Because I don't know about you, but if you've ever worked with Cursor, one of my favorite things is just to keep like submitting all the code and letting the agent really rip through everything. And if something happens, going back to snap back to that specific point in time and work from there. While that workflow is nice if you're kind of vibing, as an engineer, the better workflow is actually to do something what is being done currently in Stacked Diffs, which is saying, okay, let's separate, now that we have a plan, now that we have phases for our plan, we should put those in separate PRs or pull requests. And by putting them in separate pull requests, it just makes it easier for us to review the code and make changes to those sections of code. So it's just being a little bit more methodical in terms of now that we have an agent that helped us plan, let's see if we can use that same agent to think about how to separate these features so that we can land them in a way that we can just say, you know, pull request 1, pull request 2, and it stacks up all the way to the very end, you know, so that way we don't break anything in production. And so shipping features like this incrementally makes it move really fast. But as each change lands from the agent for a specific phase, we can test it to make sure it's working. It didn't break anything else. And that way we don't consume a lot of the context window for the agent. We can start new chats for different parts of the pull request. So it does a couple of things. We keep the plan in the context, the larger plan. The stack diff will let the agent focus in on that specific phase of code that it's working on. So you have a nice long context window to work from. And we can even iterate on the bug and not feel like we're going to lose too much. And then when we start to work on the next feature, we create a new chat and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to show you how we do that in the build phase here, which we're going to move into very shortly. Back to the Composer one, just real quick, reviewing to see if it gave us anything interesting after those insights. And it created a new plan with features. I'm just checking those in here. So this is cool. The Composer one did a very similar job to Sonnet 4.5. And I think if I continued asking and giving it the same level of detail as Sonnet 4.5, I'm pretty sure we can come up with a very similar plan as far as like the level of details, because this is a really good high level implementation, but I like to have a lot more detail in my implementation plans like here for like this one here. Like this is very detailed. This is exactly the type of plan that I like. Goes down to like even like the pseudocode and everything that we want to do with this type of thing. So what I want to go ahead and do here before I finish this up, I'm going to add this type of thing. So I'm going to say, I'm using Graphite MCP, and we're also going to use the GT command in the command line as we want to now see if you can organize this plan so that we can utilize stacked diffs. Okay. Using the GT command. So I'm going to do GT and okay. So Yeah, okay, I want to go ahead and do that there. So now it's going to take a look at this plan and then update our plan so that it has it all arranged in this like new way. So I'll break this into small logically dependent PRs that every layer makes it deployable. So this is actually the new stack structure that we're going to do now. So that's going to basically start with the schema, the backend, the generation, the UI, and then the admin controls. So the admin controls is the final switch that I'll toggle on to make sure that this app can work. That's pretty cool that it actually says. And so the defaults feature off, still off by default. And then by the time we ship this part, it's going to have the prompt logic and it's going to be gated by a flag. And then the user toggle component is going to be hidden until the admin enables it, which is really smart. And then finally, we'll just flip the switch. So that's pretty cool. So here's the first branch it's going to create, add a schema, and then branch number 2, backend, and so forth. So cool. That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. And it's even like almost writing the changes in for each of these types of things, which I find cool. All right. So I'm going to, all right. So this is continuing to update the plan here, and it's just kind of adding in the details that it needs to do here. So, all right. So this is pretty cool. All right. So we're about to get like a big flip on our AnimeLeak app and add some of these elements in, and it's going to be really exciting to kind of see and test these things out, which would be really cool. So yeah. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how you get Stacked Diffs with WorkTree enabled and agents and cursor. So it should work in any WorkTree because of it just kind of operating locally there. But we'll see. Yeah, it'll be really cool. I'm loving how you can have multiple models, and it seems to be good for seeing which model is better for certain tasks. Yeah. To me, this was a huge revelation. Just watching Composer versus Sonnet and GPT-5 High ask the different questions in plan mode now, and that helped me really see which model I can kind of steer towards and then add more information from. And then, you know, as you learn from these things, you can kind of go back in there. So yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So yeah, now that we have this type of thing, we're going to get ready to start to actually ship the features. So just to kind of summarize, we've spent a big majority of our stream basically in the plan mode, and spending that time in plan mode is going to help us maintain the accuracy. Because as we're reviewing the plan, we saw it make a couple different mistakes or preferences that the model would like to lean towards. And that was leaning towards Tailwind v3. Like it started to drop some of those hints, and we said, no, we're cutting it off right there at the plan mode. The second part of it is like pulling in MCP servers in the plan mode as well for specifically searching. So ref tools, exa code. Those two are really important because it saves us the context window, and that type of thing is really helpful. Finally, once we had everything reviewed in our plan, kind of having a secondary review to split the plan up so that we introduce this thing called Stacked Diffs. And that's something that the Graphite team really has integrated. And that's something that I learned from my stream like last week. And they basically, it allows you to ship these features kind of, you know, in these little components and different places so that we can update them and do these smaller iterations. And then we work on the next thing, work on the next thing. It actually works really well for agents. So this is going to be really cool to actually see it like live in action now. And so, okay, so here we are. We have this full thing here. And okay, so add a festive mode toggle. And then I want to make sure I want to go back and say, if I say build, is it going to build locally? Okay, cool. So this is the plan, and I'm going to go ahead and say, before you build, be sure to set up the GT stacks and work on the first PR so we can test and review before working on the next PR. Okay. So I'm going to just give it that set of instructions, and that should basically tell the Sonnet 4.5 model to kind of set us up before we start to actually do the GT thing. Okay. So start executing the plan, exit plan mode, set up the Graphite stack, and build only branch 1, the schema changes, and then create the first PR. Wait for approval. Yes. Okay, cool. So it's going to tell us GT create. Yes. Yes, please proceed. And then I'm going to take it out of plan mode now. I think I'm just going to go to agent. I think it should do it automatically, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's go and do this. So here we are. It says, perfect. Let's build branch 1 of the Halloween mode stack. I'll start by checking the current git state. So it checks the git status. It shows the current. It says, I see we're on a feature branch. Let me switch to the main and sync before we start the Halloween stack. So I see this is a working tree and the main is checked out on the main workspace. Let me work from the current branch then, and let me check out the git log to understand. So this is really cool. So now Cursor is actually doing the whole git stuff, and it's using the new GT logs, which is going to understand where we are in the stack. I see their existing Graphite branches. Let me check which branch we're currently on and navigate them properly. Okay, so now it's going to, yeah, cool. So let me check out the current schema to understand where to add the Halloween settings. Cool. So now it's switched to a new branch, and I can show you really quick what this looks like visually. So here we are in a thing called Tower. So with Tower, we can actually see that it created this new Halloween schema here. And then this is kind of where we're at right now. And this is the current working copy. This is the plan that we've already made. And this is the one that we reviewed. The whole plan is about almost 400 lines long. And this is going to basically keep the agent on track as we work through each phase of the plan. So as we see here, now it's basically said is making the schema changes. And then we're going to go ahead and see if I can go ahead and hit review. So when I hit review, we can actually see in Cursor's new view here. So now we've basically moved on to the build phase for the folks who are wondering. And so initially we started off with our plan, and in our plan, we spent like 30 minutes or so kind of going over like a split plan. So Cursor allows you to plan in multiple models. So we use Composer 1, we use Sonnet 4.5, and then we also use GPT-5 High. Sonnet 4.5 seemed to be the most thoughtful and seem to understand a lot more context of our repo in Cursor. So that was a really way kind of like we started kind of moving forward there. We then pulled in MCPs, and then we're able to pull in additional details for how things are done with my backend and front end, and even code examples, which are super helpful. And from there, now we've moved into the build phase. So we've now created a branch, and we're going to be doing stacked diffs going here forward. So that way, when our code lands, it's going to be landing in these special these different pieces. We can open up new chats for the different sides of the PR, making sure that our agent stays on track. And if our context window goes awry, we can always, work on different parts of the branch. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. And so for those who are wondering, this is the app called AnimeLeak. So if you sign up on animeleak.com, that's kind of where you'll be there. I'm going to see if I can go to my production database and see if I can add some, add some credits for those folks who are currently in here. So let's see, users. So let's see, these are my recent users who have signed up right here on the 31st. So somebody else has only 4 credits left. Guess what? You're going to have 104 credits left. And then if you just signed up, you'll use one of your accounts, you're going to have 109. And this other person who just signed up, who's got 10 credits, you now have 100 credits. So the last 3 people who have just signed up have them there. If anyone else who's signed up recently, I think there's a whole bunch of folks here. This person only has 3 left. I'm going to give them 103. Let's see. Yeah. Who else has actually been using the app here? Okay. So if you have been using the app, I'll be watching this here, and then I'll just add some credits to your account. I'm just literally just like Christmas Santa Claus thing, because once I ship this feature live, I want people to actually start testing this thing. And this is going to be really fun for you to see here. So this is live in our production database. And because I'm using Convex, it's all reactive. So if you're logged in right now, you'll see exactly what numbers I put in and they'll show up live. So that's actually kind of fun. So that's animeleak.com. Go ahead and check it out, because this is what we're going to ship here. So this is that there. We've basically, okay, so let's just kind of review some of these changes here. So we're in the schema. We've added the Halloween mode, which is great. And I'm going to just toggle this. I think that's it, right? That's all we've done. So this is the first part. So the schema looks great. Since this is a work tree, dependencies are included. Okay, what's it? Are installed here. Schema syntax itself is valid. So let me just validate here in Graphite. Cool. So, it puts it in Cursor WorkTrees here. And so there's nothing to submit because the branch isn't diverged. So let me check the current state. Okay, yeah, here we are. All right, so the branch is complete. And here's the PR details. So once you've reviewed and approved PR 10, I'll move to branch 2 and I'll add these next. Okay, cool. So we've reviewed these. We're going to apply. And then over here, we should now see the schema stuff here. No, that's not the feature. It's this one, add Halloween mode. And this is kind of what we have here. Okay. And then here's the working copy. What's going on? Oh, we're still in the head. So that's interesting. I want to check out okay, so we're in a workspace. Should I have just created this off of main? I think that's what I should have done, because I haven't really done this in a workspace yet. I'm not really sure how that really works. I've got a wild, silly idea. I'm not really sure how this works, and I want you to educate me here because I've never used a WorkTree with the stacking, and I want you to use ref for search and execode to look this up in your MCPs. Let's see, execode MCPs, ref for search and execode. Look this up. My question here is, because I want to test these changes locally, should we just actually create this off of the main branch and work there instead of inside of the WorkTree? Okay. And so if that's true, then what's going to happen now is I'm going to basically have it just, create everything local, because I want to run everything locally and test them out. Theoretically, I should be able to, but it's not right now. What's currently checked out is just my local branch, and it's currently pointed to main. And I'm thinking that we should actually be over here. This is because this is actually where the code got checked in. But for some reason, it flipped back to main. And that's what I'm trying to really figure out here is like, how do we actually work with directories when we're doing like a testing local branches? So here's going to do WorkTree list. It's going to take a look at other different things. And it says, I have all the information. So it says your current setup explained. You have get WorkTree set up here, and then the WorkTree flow is the current here. So other sources, should you work in the main repo or the WorkTree? So for local testing, you should work in the main repo. Okay, because I'm using Convex, right? Here's why. Convex dev watches for changes in the Convex directory, and the node modules live in the main repo and not duplicated in WorkTrees. Oh, today I learned. Okay, so the node modules live in the main repo, not in the duplicated WorkTrees. Interesting. Oh, so that's how I'll be able. So knowing this information is super helpful because I could be making lots of assumptions for my code if I was working in a WorkTree with Convex. And so whenever you have code that's in two different states, that is interesting. So this is really insightful, and I'm glad I'm doing this exercise. So Convex configuration. So JSON and env in the main repo. When you run Bonnex Convex dev in a WorkTree, it may not find the dependencies, not have access to environment variables, and cause confusion with multiple instances running. That's exactly it. Okay, so the WorkTree strategy for Graphite stacking. So WorkTrees are primarily for parallel development and completely different features, isolating code, not getting blocked for waiting C trees. Okay. However, for testing locally on Convex, you need a fully functional environment. Yes. It's better to work on the main repo and just switch branches with GT checkout. Okay. So here's the recommended workflow. We're going to change back to the main workflow. We're going to do here and then actually track the parent now and then do that type of thing. Okay. So keep using the WorkTree for code editing only. Okay. Let's move off the WorkTree. Okay. Okay. This is extremely helpful information. So let's move off the WorkTree and create the stacked branch based off of the main so that we can work and test our Convex stuff locally. Initially, I created the WorkTree to have multiple plans. Now that we're beyond the planning phases, let's just go ahead and actually move forward with the new, let's go ahead and, okay. Okay, so let me just take out that part. Okay, send this across. Cool. So that should basically help us fix our types of things. So yeah, so node modules, knowing and understanding how this stuff works is super helpful here. So AnimeLeak, get status, fetch origin. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad we caught that because that would have been so crazy. Okay, I see the main repo has the schema changes. Let me check to see if the remote match was pushed. Okay, I don't think it was. Let me check out the branch and set up Graphite tracking on the main repo. So now it's going to do the git checkout in our branching, like based off. So we're basically are done with the WorkTree. So the WorkTree was just in the planning phases and it just duplicated the code in that WorkTree section and allowed us to run the plan there, which was super helpful. But now that we're realizing if we want to actually test and integrate the changes locally, we have to work off the main branch. And that main branch, as we're saying here, is based off of here. And you can kind of see there's this icon called like the WorkTrees, and these are the WorkTrees down here listed below. So if you're working off of a WorkTree and you're using Convex, it's likely you're going to be using all the node modules that are based locally on your machine, not based off the WorkTrees itself. And so that could be a problem, especially if you're integrating changes that you're assuming to be true and they're actually not built and so forth. So it's a weird kind of crazy mess, but I'm glad we're talking about this. So yeah. WorkTrees are special. Maybe they could be used for different workflows, but in my workflow, it doesn't necessarily work right now for this thing. So just making sure now we have our new Halloween schema here branch. And so this is now having all of our code in here. And then now that it's checked in, what is it going to say now? So I created a fresh Halloween stack in the branch work schema, created new PR. Okay. Fully available. Okay. Okay. So what did it do? So git stash. Oh, okay. You didn't use the GT commands to make the stacks. The stacked diffs. Let's see. You're absolutely right. This is fun. Yeah, so it shows that we're in here and I can see the stack is created probably with GT create. Now I have to have this created. Okay. So, okay. Okay. Should I start building the backend functions now? Okay. Yes, please proceed. Yes. Okay, cool. This looks good. All you have to do is run npm install on the WorkTree to get all the node modules, but either way. So that makes sense. So like bun install or bunx convex dev. So there are a couple of different things here though that are interesting JK software that I still need to play around with and experiment. I think for the sake of, because I know I'm working on this specific feature, I'll have to play around with how I can have WorkTrees running in parallel. And then with Convex, they have a thing called preview deployments. So preview deployments give you an empty database. And I'm wondering, can I have multiple preview deployments like for each WorkTree? So that way the agents can run in parallel and not interfere with each other, because on Convex is kind of the same idea. So the Convex database will definitely have to be duplicated. And then you'll have to have references for each of those as well. And so what I need to understand is like, I don't want to have two schemas overlapping each other from two different models if they're going to be operating. So like one changes the name of one value and the other one's expecting the other value. And then they kind of are resolving conflicts in parallel to the same, database. So that's kind of confusing too. It gets very confusing, especially if you're running parallel agents, which is part of the reason why I really kind of stay away from them. But I do like parallel tasks, especially for planning, because we get to see different perspectives, which I find very useful, and then pulling them into like one singular space. So yeah, I'm going to learn as I go. And I think that I'm really glad I'm doing this with y'all live. So it feels like WorkTree and Stacked Diffs solve the same problem, but it feels like they're coding with each other, not experienced with Stacked Diffs. Yeah, Stacked Diffs is a little bit of a different thing, but what's going on here? Let's see real quick. Let me just kind of watch this model. So ran the GT command, git status, add, okay, git log, git status, and so git commit. So our commit commands should basically, what are we doing here? Yeah, here we go. Here's the stack, backend. Okay, so now we have the backend here. Cool. So the changes are gone. Yeah. GT up. Yeah. Okay. So now it's like re-putting the changes back in. I think because it's not using the git command, be sure. Remember to always use GT. Because we are using stacked diffs. Okay. Let me update it. Yeah. So now we have this in the queue, and it's going to just do some checks here. And before it runs the next command, what do we have here? So we have the schema. We have the backend. Yeah, I don't see the other changes in here. So what happened? You're absolutely right. Yeah. WorkTree is clean. The back changes are there for my earlier edits. Now I need to commit them with GT create. Yes. Perfect. Cool. Yeah, so it keeps losing my stuff. Yes. Okay, so it's just basically deleted the branch for the backend, and it's going to recreate everything using the GT commands. Because every time it writes the files, it keeps losing them. That's interesting. Okay, so we're just kind of watching it cook here. It should be writing the files. I wonder if I'm in this weird bug where, oh, I'm in a work tree. That's why. Okay, let me change out of this type of thing. Stop. So I figured out a problem. Okay, we have a couple of different bugs that I've encountered here. So one of them is that because I'm still in this prompt window, I'm still technically in the WorkTree version of my app. And even though like the command line interface has changed away from that, in the actual UI and cursor, as we can see when I selected the files that it's writing it to, the cursor thing, it shows .cursor WorkTree / AnimeLeak. So even though on the command line it's changed to a different directory, all the stuff that's being referenced in this chat is being referenced off that work tree. And I don't think there's an actual intuitive way that you would know in this view that you're in a work tree unless you specifically click the file and then actually look and see the file path here. So part of the reason that we're running into this bug is the fact that we're like actually not in the work tree. And the only thing that we can tell we're in a work tree is actually seeing this up here. So to me, it's not that obvious, but that's probably some feedback I'm going to share with the cursor team to see if they can improve that, because we made a bunch of assumptions and kind of spun our heels here because this chat is still in this like work tree mode and the agent is still operating and making changes in the work tree. So for those who are wondering, a work tree is basically an isolated space where the code lives, and you can kind of see the current branches that are related to that work tree. And so in our case, it's possible, like for me, because I'm building with Convex, that I could be writing code into some WorkTree space, but then when I'm running the Convex and Bunex Convex dev, it's depending on the node modules from the main branch, and it may not be actually running it from the WorkTree. That's still be determined. I still need to learn a little bit more about this WorkTree workflow. But the reason why I started with the WorkTree workflow is because I wanted to build a plan in 3 different places. So I think going forward, now the lesson that I've learned, and maybe you want to avoid this mistake, is if you start a WorkTree and you're going to go ahead and start building a plan with Convex, just start a new chat and make sure that the WorkTree tree's toggled off, and then start your plan and everything from there. And I think that's probably the easiest way to get started. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. I'm just going to say, hey, let's go back to the where I had my plan already outlined. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and start working from there. I think that's going to be easiest, because then if you have the agent, if you've already toggled on the WorkTree option, it's going to keep writing files into the WorkTree and not make it back to where it's supposed to be. So that's an interesting bug that we found out in testing this live. So here it is live, everything. So yeah, that's what that is. I'm going to go ahead and create a new chat, and then I'm going to use Sonnet 4.5. And then what I'm going to tell it to do is reference the plan mode. So I'm currently in the Halloween schema. So far we've checked in this plan here. So I'm going to reference the plan. This is a really ugly name. At plan. Okay, plan MD. So Halloween toggle prompt. I think it's this one. I'm going to close some of these windows up here so I kind of know where I'm at right now. Close this, and then I'm going to close this terminal too. And maybe turn off the sidebar. Okay. So in here, I have agents and I'm currently in local. So I'm no longer in the WorkTree mode. I'm now just going to be off of local. And this is the plan. This is the refined plan that we have, E60677B, which is the one that we're checking off here. Okay. So now that I'm running off of this branch here, we're just going to say, okay, let's go ahead and continue with the Graphite Stacked Diffs implementation here. Be sure to always use the GT command for checking in the code, because that's going to help us restack and sync our branches. And we've already started a branch. You could just go ahead and check that out here. And you may have to review where we are in this current implementation because I feel like we just got started, but just don't want to make any assumptions here. Okay. And let's go ahead and get started with this here. So let's go ahead and run this. So did we have, oh, this doesn't have the stacked diffs plan. I see. Got it. So this is actually not the most up-to-date plan. Huh. Okay. So what I need to do is pull in the other file that I created back into here. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm basically running off the wrong plan. This is what's confusing about working with some of this stuff, but I'm glad we're doing this because I will need to find this file. So for reference, I was over in here and I want to find, where is that? Halloween mode. So this is the plan, refactor, OG image. Where is this plan? So I'm going to go back into my history of chats. I don't really see them. Okay. So I'm going to exit out of this mode. So one of these plans has them. Is it here? Or is it in my documentation? Yeah, I don't actually have the plan. So let me go back to the different work tree here. Schema. I don't, Wow. Well, I may have lost the plan, but it's in my chat. So I'm going to go back to my chat here. So in Cursor, you still have the option to toggle this pane. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to this, see this little branch thing? That's the WorkTree thing, agent in WorkTree. So now if we go here, I should be able to pull up this chat here and then find the plan that we worked on and see if I can save that into my current location that I'm in right now. So go back up here. Okay. So where is it? Let's see. So build. Okay, here we are. The refined plan. Does this have this, the work tree stuff? So it says, make sure you do the GT stack. Okay. So toggle mode. This doesn't have the stacked diff plan here. Okay. So that's there. But where was the other one? Is it this one? Huh. Well, I guess we lost it. I remember seeing it though. That's what's strange. This is a really bad experience right now. Okay. So for those who are watching, I had a whole plan set up with stacked diffs. All I could do is just ask it the same question again, and we're just going to go ahead and rebuild the plan with that thing going forward, I think. So, okay. So it says, I'm using the Graphite MCP. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and do and tell it to update our plan locally. So, and then I'm going to basically kind of combine the two different prompts. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, let's go back to the, we're in editor mode now, I think. We're going to in here, and then we're going to make sure we're in the Halloween schema. So we're operating locally, and back into our agents here, we're going to change the chat to the current chat that we're in. Oh, this is a draft. I'm going to delete that. So the one that we were in here is this plan. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, instead of telling it this, going to, okay. Yeah. And I want to see if you can organize this plan using Stacked Diffs. Okay. And we're here. Okay. So far what we've had is here. We've had, today we basically created the plan and we pulled in the plan here. This one doesn't have the stacked diff implementation, and it started to work with it until it got cut off because we made some assumptions in the work tree. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is basically rebuild the plan. So this is the same plan that's referenced, and this is currently in our local workspace. And I'm going to go ahead and run this agent command here. So I'm going to do that. I'm using Graphite client line. Let's see if we can organize this plan, stack this before you build. Okay. So I'm going to have it do that instead. Okay. So trying to save ourselves here. Okay. You know what's really funny is that like I probably could have just vibed this whole thing without doing the plan thing, but part of this exploration on the live stream is for me to learn. And learning is really important. I don't like to I purposely like to throw myself into new like concepts, especially something with like WorkTrees or especially with something with Stacked Diffs, because that's how I'm going to continue to learn. Every single step along the way helps reinforce some of the new concepts that I learned. And now that we have like AI assistants to help us, I can ask more questions. I can learn about those back and forth. You know, later on, I could read more documentation to kind of really fully understand the concept here. And I feel like this type of thing is really important for you to play. So if you're struggling like the way I'm struggling, it happens to everyone. Don't be afraid. I feel like this is a really great time for you to just kind of play around and start asking some questions like that. And because I have a little bit more experience, I can kind of see a little bit of what's happening, but you can kind of maybe get a sense of that. If you stick around for a little bit, once we kind of get the plans kicked off and writing code and start to get automated, I'm going to show you a real quick overview of what kind of just happened, like what happened in the work tree and why this kind of failed for us, and then why we're moving into the local building, and then why that's advantageous for what we're doing now. And then maybe just a quick overview of what stacked diffs are, and then why that's advantageous for us going forward in the future. So this is a new workflow, by the way, for Cursor 2.0. It just came out. And so they put the agent window up and forward, and learning about some of these little nuances may make the difference in your output. And you could be making a lot of assumptions like the way I did about things, and you can realize that the code is not being written to the location that it should be. So I'm glad I caught that, because that would have been crazy to figure out later on. Okay. So here we are. It basically now gave us this new structure, which we were kind of thinking about. So the schema flag, backends, okay, controls. Okay, cool. So great. Ready to proceed. I'll start to set up the first branch. Please update the plan. Okay. So I want to say, please update plan with the details before we proceed. There was this. Let's see if I can kind of copy this. Copy the commit hash. Okay. I also, before you do that, as we started this change already. Okay. Yes, let's lock in. We're in it. Exactly. The microphone that I'm using is a Shure SM7B, and I'm using the Rodecaster Duo. So the Rodecaster Duo has a thing called the Revolution preamp, and that's what makes this really, really amazing. Not to mention I have like an announcer voice. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Yeah, but usually it's really deep in the morning. Is Cursor 2 going to give me your main driver again over Codex Cloud Code? So to be honest, like I like Droid a lot. I don't nearly have as many issues when I'm using the Droid, but I'm experimenting with this new user interface with Cursor. And one of the favorite things about Cursor is that planning mode with 3 different agents planning in parallel. I really like that a lot. I also liked, like once we got that, I need a seamless way to transition from that plan in a work tree into like a normal workflow for Convex. So that's something that I just learned now that I have to implement a little bit differently. You know, Cursor is really fast, but I have always, like I shipped probably like 80% of my app using Droid for AnimeLeak. So that's what I did there. I was just moving really, really quickly. With Cursor's thing, I'm just kind of still experimenting because it's still so new. So I'm trying to give it that chance. But right now I'm actually leaning towards Droid because of just how fast it works with Claude Code, you know, with the Claude models and also with the GPT models as well. So yeah, that's what's up. Are we updating the plan? So yeah, I did update the plan for what we're doing. Okay, cool. AnimeLeak. Okay, what are we doing now? So good. Let's see where we are. How many tokens? 63,000. Okay. Feature flag settings here. Okay, so the Halloween schema branch is current. Well, I'll start building the PR1. And then, so what did we do? Did it do the GT commands? Git log, git show, git stat. Okay. So now, PR complete. Let's move to PR2. So it ran the GT command for the sync. So create all message. Yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Halloween mode. Okay, so now it's basically moving. So we'll see this stack now show up called the Halloween schema. And now it's actually implementing the, Halloween backend. So this is the first commit. This is the next commit. These are the different changes there. And let me just go ahead and remove this here as well from Windows. Okay. Okay, cool. So here we see the plan, the updated plan that we have that we're talking about. And then we have the admin schema here. So this is the flags that we need to set. That's basically public. So it's going to check for the settings. And this is nice. It's a small little PR and it's kind of working on that type of thing in an isolated way. So yeah, giving these agents very, very focused implementation is probably key here. So now updates function pass through the Halloween mode parameter for the images blob. So let me just review that. Let me just do a review. I like this review mode. So now we're in here for Convex. And yeah, this review mode is actually really nice UI. So here in generate TS as well. Let's see. So what is it complaining about? Okay. So now let me add the Halloween prompt consistent at the top. Okay, this is great. Awesome. Now we're actually just chilling for sure. What models do you like to use with Droid? So the model I like to use right now with Droid is Sonnet 4.5. I'm almost using that explicitly and the results are incredibly good. And I'm going to compare that to the difference here in actual, I'm going to compare that to here in Cursor and we'll see kind of how it turns out. So part of the reason like I kind of do this stuff is because I wanted to, test these things out and see how they work locally and so forth. So standard prompt. Okay. So now this is our two prompts. So we'll have toggles for the different prompts in these little constant files. Eventually I'll probably move these prompts out to their own files. Because I may have different modes and things. So I'll say like, this is like Christmas mode, or this is Halloween mode, or this is, Thanksgiving mode. So we'll have different prompt formats as well. So that'd be really interesting here. So reason why I'm trying Cursor is because Composer, I've been very impressed with its speed so far. Yeah. Composer is interesting. And I need to do some more experiments with that. I originally used it for a plan, I think yesterday at my stream or the day before. And it did really good. I'm super impressed with Sonnet 4.5 in the planning though. We did a comparison today, right? With Composer 1, Sonnet 4.5 and GPT-5 High. And the plan I preferred was Sonnet 4.5. It was very detailed. And then I was able to take some ideas and just kind of keep rolling with that. I was not really impressed with the GPT-5 High plan, which I would usually get a lot of results for, but I use GPT-5 High a lot in Droid, especially in planning sometimes. And that works just as well for me in Opus. So the results are actually different. Who knows what it is like today? These models seem to evolve over time, and it's really interesting to see how this changes. So now that the backend is complete, so I'm going to move to PR4 for the Halloween toggle component. So here it is, the Halloween toggle, and then we're going to go into here, and we're going to see how this stack is working. So we can kind of see how it's been building. So we have the first stack, the second stack, the third stack. So each of these are basically its own commits in its own little branch. So that way we can check their PRs and just making sure that, the minimal amount of files are changed. And it sort of isolates our features so that if we want to work on a certain change, we know what we're working on. So I'm going to show you real quick. So this specific branch deals with the Halloween mode to generate the images. This specifically deals with the component. So if we're dealing with bugs on our component, I'm going to switch to this branch, tell the agent to make changes, and the agent will know if it does a diff, like what exactly has changed, and then fixing the features there. So keeping our agent very prescribed and very focused is the key here, especially for fixing bugs. That way, like it also isolates some of our changes. We can open up a new chat, give it a new context window, let it, debug and breathe and do all the things that we need to do. So here, this change, as you can see from that component, is fairly tiny. It's just this toggle. And then, so it creates a usable toggle component and conditional styling following credit balance and the forward this type of class. So here we have a new component, and then here we have like the changes to our blob store for what it's going to do for that. And I think all it did was just add some comments. It just ran a linting. Okay, whatever. But yeah, you get my drift. Halloween toggle. Okay, so now we have the toggle. Man, this is awesome. This thing's, how many tokens have we used so far? So far we have almost 100K. Okay, cool. Awesome. I missed quite a lot. Is that a GitHub UI? That's actually something called Git Tower. So Tower is I think I may have a reference code or something like that, but yeah. Tower basically allows you to see this UI. There are other apps that do this type of stuff as well. and like Git Kraken, and there's also the free GitHub one as well. But I find that Git Tower integrates pretty well with this new Stacked Diffs workflow, but also Graphite does as well. There's a link to Graphite below. They sponsored a live stream last week, and what was nice about the sponsorship, every time I do sponsorships, I always ask them for special stuff for my community. If you use the code Stack with Ray, that's actually at the bottom. That's kind of maybe not there right now. Use code Stack with Ray. You can actually get an additional month for free. So basically what they also provide, which they don't really talk about very much, is the AI code review things. And so the AI code review is also included in their bundle. So you can ask a limited amount of questions for the AI code review. So if I do graphite.dev, and what's cool about Graphite is they sort of pioneered UI for better GitHub experience. But on top of that, a lot of big companies use them, like Shopify and pretty much a lot of companies in the Valley as well. And this is something for like internal dev tooling, but you also have, things like automation, like AI reviews. And then the AI reviews too, you can kind of take a look and you can see the agent will start kind of looking through your code base. And sometimes what you find, especially with a lot of these different AI code reviews tools, is that they're really just giving you nitpicky type of things that are really useful for your repo. And one advantage that these guys have is they have a whole pipeline for analyzing your entire repo. And they use some of that intelligence as well to kind of break down the categories that are actually useful for you. So yeah, from logic bugs to security issues and these edge cases, this is actually how they categorize some of the bugs that they find in their code reviews. And I actually do find them probably the most useful. When I take a look at them between Cursor, BugBot, and this one, this actually gives much more granularity for a specific thing. And then from here, you can just start popping in to have a conversation. So this is a feature I'm working on in a different app here with my other app. So I can actually see, like, view the comment here. So they'll pull up my actual, PR that I'm making right now. And this is the part of the stack that I'm working with. And then they'll give me exactly like the reason why. And then I can use their agent in here to have a chat and like actually commit it right here in the UI. And it submits it right up. And then, I can publish the changes or anything like that. So yeah, they have a really great Graphite chat. I think there's a couple of folks who've been using it. And you can even see the other comments that have been happening here so far in the code changes. So this is probably going to be like the best way to like view all of our stuff that's checked in. And then we're actually now seeing the Halloween stuff coming in. So here's the drafts to add admin backend functions. So these are already coming into our stack. And then we're actually seeing it being built in real time right now. So this is actually pretty cool. So this is our stack. We're basically starting with the review here, and then we're going to get to see, this is the first part, the first file. I don't think this is the second file. You can say it looks good to me. So yeah, breaking apart the diffs into these stacks is going to make it just easy for us to review the code that's changed. For me, I'm just looking at admin. And so what are we doing in the admin file? We're getting these settings. We're getting the updated Halloween settings. We're passing in these arguments. It's really straightforward. It's easier for me to review this like chunk by chunk. And the next thing we're going to do is Halloween mode for the image generation flow. So what are we doing here? We're passing. So like a code review like this just makes it really easy to fly through. You're like, okay, you're updating the prompt, and then now what function are you touching? The internal action. Okay, we're adding that into that. Cool. And then we're removing the text, and we're just passing in prompt as a parameter here, which is great. And now we're going to image blob. So this is for where my images are generated. We're passing in these new arguments. It looks like that's optional, like it should be, which is great. I mean, that's easy. Like I'm almost done with all my reviews, right? Like it's pretty fast for the code review, and this is done here. If you go to like just GitHub normally, GitHub is going to have all the PRs separately. And so if I go to AnimeLeak, I'll show you what this looks like right now. So I have like 13 pull requests because that's kind of what it does. And you'd have to kind of, go through one by one, which is still okay. And I think, you just have to review the files and change because each of these are technically branches. And so the GitHub UI currently doesn't really support this stacked diffs workflow, even though they actually offer it as part of GitHub itself. And so that's kind of why Graphite's kind of important here. So here we are, open 2 days ago. Yeah, so this is the one. I think this is the first part of the first branch that we have here. And usually, yeah, okay. So that's kind of the difference there. So that's Graphite. But yeah, you can try it out for sure. I think a lot of people really kind of enjoy this thing here. All right, let's go and check out our users, see if any new folks have signed up. So if you go to animeleak.com, there's some other folks who have signed up. I'm just going to go ahead and bump your credits up right now. So if you go to animeleak.com, I'm going to basically just bump up like 100 plus credits because I'm going to have to ship this feature live and we're going to have to test it live. So that'd be really fun. So anyone who signs up, you get to go to animeleak.com and you can go ahead and just sign in for free. It's for free. You get 10 free credits, but your credits are not going to be showing the new features there. So anyone who signs in, I'm basically watching and monitoring. One of my favorite joys of Convex is that I can actually see the credits kind of being used in real time. And then I can see, you know, like as far as like giving you more credits. So pretty soon we'll have this app live. And for those who are following, we basically have gone through the plan phase already. We're currently in the build phase. And I think we literally just shipped the entire feature while we're just yapping. And we're using the new Stacked Diffs workflow. So let's see if we can kind of spin this up locally and grab this thing here. We want to learn Git and GitHub. And can Cursor help us with this? Yes, Cursor has a Git feature. I don't know if they can help you with it, but if you go to this little sidebar toggle, there's this little Git thing here from the side. So any features you have that you want to commit, you can just hit the stage all the changes and put them in. And then this little star will generate the commit message, or you can just type it in. So I think, yeah, I am actually going to make a dedicated video on some basic Git hygiene just to get started. So I'm going to start with like the easy mode, which is what I used to do, which is make a feature branch by just saying, you know, create a new feature branch and then checking my changes in one by one, and then later merging them back in. And then I'll show you a little bit more advanced workflow with Stacked Diffs, which is what I like to do. And that's going to involve a little bit more steps, as we can kind of see here. Because once you get familiar with the basic Git workflow, learning the Stacked Diffs thing will be super helpful too in the future. So I think there's a couple of different levels here, but just getting you started, this is like a good place to start here. And so basically you want to think about is every single step along the way, like a prompt, a chat, you know, as soon as you put some code in, check it in, and then kind of keep going from there. That'll really help you with your process for that if you're kind of curious there. So Halloween mode feature stack is complete. Did we check all of our changes in? I don't think all of our changes are checked in. Let's see. Well, we're at the last part of the stack. So add spooky photos. Oh, I think this just did like a linting. So what I want to do now is just check to make sure. Let's see, bunx convex dev. So we should be pushing all of our convex functions up now. Okay, so here we are. Great. So now we're here, and then I'm going to see bun dev. Cool. Localhost 3000. Let's check. Let's see if the mode's enabled or not, and then we may have to enable it as the admin. So I'm going to go to the admin. And so we should have a new Halloween feature flag, which is here, and I'm going to turn this on. So now it's updated. And so if I go back to just the regular mode. Awesome. So add spooky magic to your photos and then see how it changed our view here. So let's just go ahead and see if I can upload one of my photos. Okay, cool. This is really fun. Let's see if I can go down now. So sample images. So I'm going to take one of my, like, maybe of my doggy. No, I'll do one of me, huh? Like with my food. Let's do this. So now this would be, oh, we have crash. Okay. So API images, gallery, get images page and edit. So validate object. Okay. So what do we have here? Convex storage. It did upload. Okay. And then we have a bug here. Okay. So, all right. So what did it finish? Let's see. Okay. So, okay. I want you to figure out which part of the stack diff caused this regression. When I uploaded the feature with the feature flags enabled for the Halloween thing, this is the bug that I get back. It looks like we're able to upload the file and I see it upload to the front end. And then this is the crash that I see in Convex. And then I'm basically truncating that file and then kind of see, like, I don't need the whole data blob. It converts the file into like a big data blob type of thing. And then I'm just going to pass it back in this thing here. Yeah, return value does not exist or something. I'm going to go like this. Just give it chunks of this code. It keeps freaking out. Okay. Refunded. Okay. Failed to generate image. Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of other stuff in here. Okay. And then here. Okay. Cool. And so, yeah, regression. Once you do that, let's work on that stack and be sure to run the GT commands. So it does a rebase. So it does a sync. Okay, cool. So now we're telling it to go fix the bugs basically. And here, I think the problem, I could probably guess what the problem is. What is it saying? Okay. So in gallery result in page.app, what's the stack trace here? So we get the result, the local results, use subscription feed, use effects, check for updates. Okay. And then the content, we restack from bottom with frames, render hooks. Okay. And then what else are we showing here? So object contains an extra field called Halloween mode that's not in the validator. So in get images, get gallery images paginated. Let me just go to that here in gallery Halloween mode. So, okay. So when we're getting the images back to display on the gallery, we don't have this option here. And what is it doing here? So generation attempts. So returns a validation error. So that it contains an extra field. So it's under images. So if I go to Convex and I go to the code where it says images. So over here, if I do Command P, can I do images? Yeah, images Convex. So this is the exact file that it has in. And then what's the thing called again here? Whoops. Oh, it's fixing it. It's already fixed it. I was wondering if I could fix it faster than they can. Okay, what did it say? Now let me check out the Halloween schema branch. Okay, so what happened? I just want to see the changes that it made. Okay. So we're back here. What did we do? Okay. Git restore. No. We're doing okay. Halloween mode validators to the field. Okay. We are using GT, by the way. Remember to use. So I'm just telling it to do that. Okay. So validators.ts. So lib validators, convex lib validators in here. So images. Oh, it needs to check that that's in there. And then the admin mode is for the admin mode tracking and then lib validators. So I have a gallery view validator and I have to make sure that this mode is actually enabled and checked. I see. Okay. I need to rethink that in the future. Yeah. Did you start cursor from a WorkTree branch? Yes. Or from the main branch as it spins up the WorkTree branches. So, okay. The way that I started cursor was just from the main branch. And so I just started with the main, I got it into plan mode. And then when as soon as I selected the different models in my plan mode, it flipped us from local to WorkTree. And that's from there, it created the WorkTrees automatically. So that way you don't have to do it yourself. So if you're starting, you could just start from the main branch and then just as soon as you toggle on, it's going to go ahead and do that. Just FYI. Do we need to pay for this cursor to use it? So cursor gives you 2 weeks for free. And with that 2 weeks for free, if you've never signed up before, that allow you to basically start using cursor. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. How is it Cursor 2.0 with plan mode, Cursor, Composer, and everything else? I still think Cloud Code and Factory Droid are clearly superior. Yeah, I to be honest, Factory Droid, for me, I ship really fast. I get a lot of stuff done. I probably consume 10 million tokens plus a day or so when I'm really shipping pretty fast in Droid. And Droid is extremely token efficient. Cloud Code, that would probably equal like probably 40 to almost 100 million tokens maybe. It tends to be a lot more when I just use Cloud Code. Cloud Codes, for whatever reasons, lately seems to be really slow. But when I use Droid with a Sonnet 4.5 model, I move super fast. Yeah, just a FYI. Yeah. Yo, Bravo, how's it going, man? Dude, thank you for the massive super chat. I really, really do appreciate it. Just got a cool AF design from AnimeLeaks. No way, bro. Dude, that's crazy. I'd love to see that design. That'd be so cool. I'll definitely hook you up. If anyone who's logged in right now to animeleak.com, I'm going to go ahead and just add some credits to y'all because y'all are killing it right now. So let's just see. Anyone who's signed in right now, I'm going to just go ahead and add some more increment everyone who's basically has been signing in and creating new accounts. So when you create a new account, you get 10 free credits, and I'm just going to bump everyone's credits here. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm. So if you're logged in right now, anyone who has 7 credits, you're now going to see 107. Anyone who has 8 credits, you're going to have 108. And anyone who has 10 credits right now, you just created the account, you're going to see 100 at the top. And one of my favorite parts of Convex is the reactivity, right? So literally I'm just changing the credits and you're seeing that show up live. And I think that's just really amazing, right? So that's actually pretty cool that we're going to hang it out. So I'm about ready to launch this feature soon. I just need to fix this bug. So now what did we do? Okay, so we modified the validators thing. So the bug was caused by missing a Halloween mode feature. Bravo, thank you so much for this super chat. You're like an MVP right now. The bug was caused by missing the Halloween mode feature. Here's what happened. So I added Halloween mode to the schema. I stored it into the image records, and now we have that. And so now we stacked and modified and restacked here. So now all of the PRs are updated with all the different stuff here. And so now the validator returns the extra field is not in the validator. Okay, cool. Now match schema, the error. Okay, cool. So we should have it resolved now. And it looks like the function's resumed down below. Cool. And let me just kill and restart the dev server because I don't think we did any backend changes, but let me just double check here. And let me also make sure that we're in the right part of the stack. So where are we? Images. Okay, so this is just linting. Okay, so now we're here. Is this the latest part of the stack? Yeah, we did restack. Moderation deboard. Cool. So, okay. Do we have this enabled now? Admin? Let's see. Okay, cool. I don't think, yeah, so I want to, does this part of the, okay, so what do we have here? So this was checked in here. Okay. We have all these, and then this would be admin validators. Okay. So shouldn't we, okay, there's a problem. Okay. The latest part of the stack, I see the problem. Make sure you use the GT command, but I think we need to move to the latest part of the stack and make sure that everything gets rebased correctly. You can use the Graphite MCP to do a discovery here because I noticed I don't have all the code in order to get the latest features running correctly for this stack. Diff, stacked, diff. Okay. Let me just rebuild everything here. Bun dev. Okay. You're right. Yeah, let me navigate to the top of the stack and verify all the code is present, and let me check the stack state. So what happened is that we have code in different places of the stack. So we just need to make sure all the code kind of lives everywhere like correctly in the right place. So that way I can pull the latest stack and then make sure that we're at the top, and then we basically can test this feature correctly here. So this is the joy of using, the GT commands. It's going to do that type of thing there. It's going to check out the latest one and say, okay, let's go ahead and move everything back. Let me check these. Cool. So grab the Halloween prompt. Okay, so it's just checking and verifying the files. And what are we doing here? Yeah. So it's now verifying the validators. Okay. So we should have this validator code here. Okay, deprecated, use generals. Okay. Now let me restack to ensure the entire stack is properly synced. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in here for the schema, lib validators, if I go to 32, I should see the Halloween mode now. Lib/validators, okay. And then line 32. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Yay. And then are we in that right? Yeah, we're in this head here. Okay, cool. Yay. Awesome. And then we see the schema. Okay, so this is actually where it restacked back this way. Okay, that's cool. Nice. Okay. And then what is the other one that we changed as well? Just double checking. So we changed the admin TS, admin, where is this? Inline 200, Halloween mode tracking. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, we do have that. Okay, cool. And so our stuff is ready. Bun dev. Let me go back to local. So let me just kind of close this one here. Let me go back here. All right, cool. So now we have Halloween mode enabled, just like we should. And I'm going to go ahead and upload the feature here and upload. And it crashes. Okay. So we still have the same crash. It doesn't look like the change is in. Okay. Yeah. I'm still seeing the same crash and it doesn't look like the change made it in. Okay. Guess what? I'm absolutely right, fam. Okay, so let me verify that changes are actually being used in the Convex instance. Show current. Yes. Good. We're at the top of the stack. Let me check the validators. Has the field. Okay. Let me just check this here. Let me stop this and then go back. I'm still seeing the crash. And then I'm just going to send this here. And then I'm going to kill some of these and restart them here. Start. And this. And then ls of this. Just kill some of these processes. Okay. So now we were kind of here. Okay. So haven't been deployed to the Convex backend yet. Shows the validator still missing Halloween mode. Okay. Okay. Convex deployment check. Okay. What command did it do? Bonex Convex. Okay, cool. There are uncommitted changes. So let me check those in. We're using GT. So one of the weird things is like we are using GT and that should GT from Graphite to work with Stacked Diffs. And so we need to make sure we are all synced up. So I think that's what's problem. I have not tried the browser tab. Last time I tried it, it broke things, but let me see if I can do that now. I should be able to get it from up here somewhere, right? Is it settings, browser? Where's the browser? There used to be a way to like hit the little browser thing. I just don't see it up here anymore. Because I used to be able to just get the browser tab up here. Network? Huh. Yeah, I don't see it. Models. Cloud agents. Tools. Browser. Yeah. Bundled in Chrome. Huh. I should be able to see it. I don't see it currently. Yeah. Yeah, I that's kind of weird actually. I think I have to probably explicitly tell it to use the browser, but I'd love to just click a browser button and just click browse. You know what I mean? So yeah, here we go. So the Convex should be deployed now and everything is synced to Graphite. Okay, cool. Okay. I'm just going to kill these here. And then bunx, let's see, ls, pwd, gt log. So here we are. Okay, q. Bunx convex dev. Okay. Analyzing source. Okay. So, all right. So here we are. Ready? Bun dev. Cool. So let's go back. And we're running. So let me just make sure that toggle's on admin. I'm just going to toggle it off here. And if I go back to the site, it should remove the feature. And then I go toggle it on. I'm just going to toggle this on. And then we go back. So the feature should now be enabled. And now I should be able to upload an image of me. And then get some spooky stuff. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So clearly there's an issue here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just tell it to, okay. So this should no longer appear because of validators. I'm in the correct thing. I'm just kind of check the convex dev output. Yeah. So seeing an error. I'm now seeing this error. And then here's it. And then let's just see if it can fix it itself. Clearly, I don't know what's going on. Like, why is it like, I thought it fixed it, but maybe it's not. It's still not deployed. Oh. What does it say? It has its own, I like reading the output. Has its own inline validator object, not using the paginated. That's why our fixed validator didn't work. We need to add the Halloween mode into the inline validator to get the gallery images paginated. Ah, okay. So this is the bug. That's missing from the Halloween mode. Okay. Oh. Get the images validator. So one of the things that I'll have to consider in the future, because I'm, trying to speed run this implementation just to get it work for Halloween. But as an architect, I want to think about this a little bit deeply. There's going to be like different features that I want to release or enable at certain times, like Halloween mode. I want Thanksgiving mode. I want Christmas mode coming up. I want New Year's mode coming up. So those are the different ways that I want to implement things. And I'll probably have to think about them a little bit deeper here. But because I'm just kind of speed running this whole thing, it's like, we spent a lot of time planning, which is probably the most important part. The second part is kind of like spending a lot of time debugging where we are actually going to be writing the code, which is kind of like the biggest part of this stream. And then the last part here is just kind of like making sure that we actually have our debugging. So this debugging process is like getting us really, really close to shipping. And we're almost at the ship phase where we can actually deploy this live. So this is going to be really cool once we get this working, because we're right now just kind of debugging this. So now I should be able to get stuff working, but I'm trying to see where we're at right now. Where are we at, fam? Let's see. Did it go back to the main thing? I don't know why it switched back. Okay. Okay. So what is it doing now? So check out the Halloween schema. Oh, okay. So we're back to the schema thing. Okay. Critical fix deployed. Missing validators found. Fix applied. Okay. Great. Great. Now we should restack and go to the latest stack. Just stack with GT. So we can test the changes live. Okay. I think that's it. Theoretically. Yeah, because we don't see them here. Okay. Perfect. Let me restack and navigate back to the top stack. Okay. Cool. Yo, Alex, thanks so much for being a member for 3 months. It's so awesome. I'm really glad that it kind of calls them out here. That's actually really, really cool. Yeah, if you're a member for Let Me Cook, that basically allows you to kind of get that cool badge. I have little emojis and stuff like that. And I appreciate everyone who's become a member to support the channel. Without your support, really, these live streams really aren't possible. And I can't believe how many people have been tuning in, throughout all these types of the years and stuff to build along with me. And I really appreciate that. as a result, we've been able to secure some really great sponsors. So Factory Droid were one of the amazing sponsors. They sponsored like last month. And so if you haven't signed up for that, there's a link. I think it's rfer.me/Ray Factory. That'll get you 40 million credits to try, which is awesome. It's something I always like encourage when I work with sponsors, is to make sure that they take care of us, because we code together. And it's not fun when I just can have all the access to stuff and you can't as well. So I want to make sure that we're kind of both included in that. Another one I've worked with recently is Graphite. And so they're the ones I'm using their AI code review things, but also trying this new stacked diff workflow so that we can make sure that, I'm kind of like getting back to some really good engineering practices there. And that's taking me a little bit longer to kind of wrap my head about, but you're seeing me kind of making sure I do these types of things. And so that's kind of where we're at with that. So I definitely appreciate all of the members like you guys who've started supporting me from the very beginning. And here we are now, and we're going to continue to grow. And I'm pretty excited of how the channel is progressing here. So yeah, I really appreciate that. It's so cool. And it's just really fun to hang out on a Friday, see if I can actually ship this feature live. So today is Halloween. Yeah, I'm currently in Hawaii. It's currently 12 o'clock. So it's like basically lunchtime. And we should be ready to test. So what did it do here? I'm just checking the code. So now it's making sure we're using the GT commands now. So we're restacked. And now we should have everything deployed up and running. So let me see. Here's cursor, the bunx commands. Yeah, okay, so all the functions are running. I'm just going to re-kill these here. Bunx, convex dev, bun dev. So we're rebuilding, and then I'm just making sure I'm in the right part of the stack. I'm in the latest part of the stack. And then we've restacked here. Okay, cool. Did we get them all? Config, add, upload, batch configuration. Okay, no. Okay, cool. Here we are. All right. So ready to test. Nice. Okay, so we should have the latest. Localhost 3000. Let's go. All right. Am I crashing? Okay, now here we are. All right, cool. So we're back. Let me just refresh, do a hard refresh. Cool. So let's go ahead and see if I can test an image here. Hopefully it works. Yay. Okay, cool. We made it. So now the photo of my dog should get transformed, and it'd be kind of really cool to see, how this turns out. So let's see. We should be able to kind of see things here. Sweet. So she has these schnauzers have beards, and I like how it just went extra with the beard for Halloween. And if you go to AnimeLeak.com, I'm going to do some more testing right now. I'm about to launch this feature. Actually, this is the previous one with the smokes and stuff. Let's drop another one. This is hilarious. Oh, this is actually really cute. My friend here, I'm going to see what it does here for Halloween. So we're currently in Halloween mode. And I'm going to drop some more. This is hilarious. Oh, I'm going to see what it does here. Oh, let's see. Yeah. This is funny. This is actually funny. This is fire though. This is and so wow. This is cute. So let's see here. Let me just refresh some of these. Let's see. Oh, that's cute. Oh, wow. Oh, that's adorable. I love this. I love this so much. Yo, do you guys want me to ship this? Do you want to try this out right now? Like literally this is in my feature branch and we're about to like push this live. I don't see any problems right now with the images. I just want to make sure I can still like share. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's share this with the public gallery. So as an admin, I should be able to see that now and review it and approve it, and making sure that I approve it without crashing my app. So approve. Great. Now, if I go to open up a new window like localhost 3000. Yes, that's so cool. That's adorable. Oh, that's so adorable. Wow. Yeah, it would be a great feature release for Halloween for sure. Why do you use Bun instead of NPM? So Bun, a couple reasons. It's extremely fast at the package management. So to generate all that's really great. It's similar to PNPM in terms of saving space. So every node module folder you have, it basically has a central repository for all those tags. And what it does is it'll create a symlink in your operating system. So that way you're not duplicating all these NPM packages. And so it does a couple of things. If you already have that version of the package, it's going to make it extremely fast to install and then updates the packages. And the other thing is that they basically rewrote the entire package manager from the very lowest level, like system call level of details of things. So that's just for package management. They also have a runtime, which you can use instead of Node. And then you can deploy your apps using the Bun APIs, which I currently don't use. I'm using basically Node, but it's compatible with them. So whenever I do Bun install and so forth, it's really, really fast. So that's probably the primary reason I do that. But yeah, that's where we are right now. This is so fun. This is actually really fun. Ship it. Yo, this is crazy. I love, so this is AnimeLeak.com. And then here's my little branches and stuff. Here's my admin dashboard now that I've reviewed it. And then let me go back to my friend and see what I did with my friend. It kind of made this funny. That's cute. Oh, that's so adorable. This is adorable. Oh my God, that's so cute. Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. Wow. Okay, let's ship this feature. Yeah, let's ship this thing. Oh my gosh. So enable Halloween mode, verify the toggles in the upload zone. This is glow orange. No validators and use the image. Yeah, this is fire. Let me just do a quick share to make sure it doesn't break sharing, and then we should be good. So if I go here, yeah, and then if I hit like a new window with a user not logged in, yeah. And then let me just make sure that when users share, like they say they don't want it to be turn off sharing, that we don't break anything. Okay. So, okay, sharing off. Okay, the image is no longer available. Perfect. Oh, that's awesome. So then if they enable sharing, let me just reshare here. Cool. Share settings and then enable it. Then they'll say the image is now available. Yeah, perfect. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I think it's ready to ship, fam. I think we're going to... why can't we see the public gallery when we are logged in? So the public gallery is only featured on the homepage right now because I wanted users to come to see my app, to see like as like, so this is like literally a V0. This is an alpha version of this app. And I just kind of made, like I forked this from my friend Mickey, who currently works at Convex. He goes by Ross Mike on X. So he made this version using Nano Banana. It adds a chain and everything like that. But he didn't really have like a gallery view implemented. So in a previous live stream, we implemented that. And then he didn't have a landing page. He didn't have like authentication or, you know, all the other stuff set up because he was just showing a demo. So off that fork, we've basically built everything. So we have Polar for adding credits. We have, you know, Convex, which you already started with the database. We added authentication using Clerk here. I initially had an implementation using Convex storage with their API, with their image storage. And so I transitioned that to Vercel because I wanted a better speed. I wanted to take advantage of the Next.js caching. And also, they also have optimizations for images, which basically doesn't take a hit on my actual, like it's way cheaper compared to just, you know, normally setting up like a node server or something like that, especially for getting started as V0. So what I would like to do is take this idea and make a public gallery, like you say. So not only do you have your gallery of images, but people who can upload stuff to the public gallery. In essence, this is low-key going to turn into like an Instagram app, but it's a little bit different here, right? So it's going to be really fun. But as of now, you can share the images, and I think I may add that feature in the future. So that's a really good feature request, and I really do appreciate that, which would be super fun. Can I switch to Bun? Yeah, you can switch to Bun if you just remove the lock files and just do Bun install. You can just RF your node modules and just Bun install if you're doing that. So yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I might have like a gallery thing, which would be cool to see it. Anyone who's logged in right now to AnimeLeak, I'm going to ship this feature live. So if you log in, you're going to get 10 credits. But right now, I'm just going to bump everyone up to like 100 plus credits so you can try and generate some more images and share with friends, which I find super awesome. So, okay, let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's go ahead and ship this feature live. So now that we know that it's basically working here, I'm just going to make sure this lasts. Is it like a linting fix? We remove the data model. Yes. Okay, return. I think this is just literally lint fixes. Commit. Okay, great. And then let's just sync them. Just making sure we sync. Submit full stack. Okay. Cool. All right. So I just tested everything and it works really well. Let's go ahead and just submit all of our stacks so that we can review them, and I'll push them live from Graphite. Cool. Dude, what happened? I just added one more Cursor Ultra membership with my other meal. So, because one is not enough and it just hit the limit. Close to 2 billion. Bro, you consume 2 billion tokens? This guy ships, bro. If anyone's watching, this guy ships. Oh my God, bro. So you get $400 in compute. So literally you added a new email just so you can get another $400. So you basically get like $800 of compute if you just spend, yeah, create a new account. You're crazy, bro. You're so crazy. Okay, so let's see what it is we do here. So we're running the command, validating graph is ready to submit. Okay, so here we go. Cool. So now we have the latest stuff checked in. Accept Halloween mode. So testing verified. Okay, so in order to review and merge, we're just going to go ahead and go to here and submit this. Okay. Let's go. Let's go, fam. All right, so we're going to ship this feature live. This is the last part. So if you've been watching all throughout this whole live stream, we've been going on for an hour and 55 minutes. And what we've been doing along the way is just spend a lot of time planning. So we probably spend about like 30 minutes planning. If you're watching this live stream right now, it's going to be available as video with timestamps going back later on. So after the video is done, I'm going to make sure the timestamps get processed so you can kind of generate those as well. So you can kind of go back and click around. But we started off with the plan. We spent quite a bit of time checking out Composer 1, which is the new actual model from Cursor that they've just released. Really, really fast with tokens. Tried it in plan mode. We also checked out the new feature called WorkTrees. So that allows us to do multiple plans at once. So that's what we did in the new agent window. We started with Composer 1, Sonnet 4.5, and then we also did GPT-5 High. Sonnet 4.5.1 in terms of all of the different planning modes. And then from there, we started to implement into build phase. In the build phase, we implemented this thing. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's called Stacked Diffs. And that's kind of what we're working with here to make sure we can review our code and check them in, section by section and so forth. As of now, we're now in the ship phase. So we've been able to verify all of the stuff that's being built, and by toggling the features on, and now we're actually going to get ready to deploy this live on AnimeLeak.com. So today is October 31st. It's Halloween Day here in America, and it's currently about 12:30 in Hawaii. So we still have some time for people to upload their images and share really fun creations. And I have one that's really cute so far that we've done with my dog. So this is the production app here, and I'm going to go into the development part of the app. And we have a spooky mode enabled. So this is really fun that we've been able to kind of share of my dog and actually kind of feature it in the gallery. So I'm going to try to do this and feature in the gallery. If you upload your images, if you sign up right now, if you go to AnimeLeak, what I'm going to go ahead and do in the production database, anyone who's been signing up right now, it's just been dropping credits live. So as you sign up, I'm just going to drop credits. If you're kind of low on credits, I'm going to be going through and just, dropping like this person's used enough already. I'm just going to add some more. So other people who've signed up already, I'm just going to drop in some more credits for you guys. So 5 credits left, 4 credits left. I want to make sure that y'all can get some credits to test this new feature out. This person's almost done with all of their stuff. So I'm just adding in, instead of one credit left, now you have 100 something. Thank you so much for trying out the app. Everyone else who's been trying out the apps, I really appreciate it. So I might even just write a script and just add in credits for people in the future. Because that's what I could do here. So let's go ahead and work on reviewing this and then shipping this thing, because I think this is kind of where we're at right now. So we're now here at this part of the stack. So we're at the Halloween schema, and in here, we're just going to go ahead and merge when ready. So let's see if I can there is a full PR. Yeah, so here's the full PR, and we start at this part of the stack and kind of go on up. And so what we're going to go ahead and do, I was actually already reviewing it earlier, and we just made some incremental changes. So help me review this PR, improve this code. As of now, we have 425 files that have changed. Okay, cool. So here's the markdown. I don't think I need anything. So this was the plan that we already updated, and we did that thing here. And then for the query, we were just adding the tracking in for the different images. This looks pretty good. So yeah, okay. Okay. So we'll merge when ready. So publish. And then the next part of the stack here, we're going to move on up. So right now we're just kind of doing a code review real quick. And so this is the updates we made to our plan. And in the admin, we had the feature flags for the reactive and public query. This is going to take 1 second. I don't know why. Why do we have this? Ask. Why do we take one? Just curious. Because that might not be needed. There should only be one global settings record. So take one retrieves the at most one record, and it's checked to see if it exists length equals 0 or used to return settings values. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Wow. Okay, that's smart. Looks good to me. Check it in. Let's go ahead. All right, cool. Publish. Okay, ready to merge. This is awesome. So merged, and then needs restack. So what's nice is like as I'm approving these changes, they're actually shipping live right now to my app, and they're being built. So if we go to Vercel, I can show you real quick. On Vercel, if we go to AnimeLeak, my app, each of these PRs are kicking off deploys, and each of them are being built. So as they're being merged in, they're actually being merged into the main tree of everything. So behind the scenes, they're being kicked off and being built. And by the time we're done deploying this, and reviewing all of our code, all the stuff should be merged right in. And then, we should be able to kind of check that live. So that's what's kind of nice. And so here we are reviewing this next thing here. So here's the plan. We just make sure everything's good. And then update billing settings. So this is for our getting Halloween settings. Update the Halloween settings. And then what else do we have here? So in our generate, these are the prompts that we're using now. So this is a standard prompt. And then this is the Halloween mode prompt that we added here. And we changed the way the prompts get inserted. And then cool. So that looks good. Publish. Okay. And then this is the component that we have here. So this is the change to the plan. This is the big component that we added for the Halloween mode with little spooky magic stuff. And feature is enabled. Cool. Yeah. So this is the standard prompt that we had here. And then this is now the Halloween theme prompt that we're going to add in next. Cool. And then based on the toggle mode, this is kind of what switches back and forth between them. Because this is about the point where we restacked. This looks pretty good. Published. Cool. And then now in the integrate Halloween toggle to the main page. So this is now putting code into the main page for us. And this is part of the plan. And this is the main page here. So we have the toggle theme. And so here's the Halloween mode feature flag. So now we're going to do a use query on the main page. So this is where users are going to see it now. And if this is enabled, we're going to show it. Otherwise, we're not. And the good thing about deploying this change is it's not going to break anything in production because by default, it's just going to be showing you what you normally see. And we should pass that flag. And then now we're going to have new code to deal with this change. And it's going to land in new components that we need. So first, we basically deployed the backend changes, which doesn't change anything because they're just function calls from the front end. And none of that stuff got rewritten. And now we have that there. We're going to go publish. Cool. I like this way of reviewing code. It's so fun. All right. So yeah, it's funny. Like code reviews becoming fun with Graphite, right? Like it's actually kind of fun, actually. Well, I also like asking questions about like certain parts of the code, which is really nice. This interface is actually really cool to review code. So in this part here, we basically add feature flags to the admin dashboard now, and then globally stuff. So like all the users can actually see the feature once I enable it. And then it displays the updated timestamp. It handles the loading states gracefully. So here we are. Here's the API for the use query and the user mutation. So this is how we're going to update the settings. And then in our admin dashboard, this is kind of where we're going to say, whether it's enabled or not. And then here's the feature flag for the admin dashboard. And then here's the actual backend part with the images and what we're going to handle from here. So how it generates it to the image blob URL, which is just linting fixes. And we're good. We're Gucci, fam. Cool. So now it's going to merge and rebasing. So it's waiting down on the stack here. And so each of these are kicking off builds. And each of these builds, you can kind of see the Graphite stuff actually starts to insert the comments. So this is actually adding that into our PR. And then this is, merge. So I forgot to toggle to merge when ready. So I'm going to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to merge. And then waiting on the down stack. So merge when ready as well. And then I'm going to so when I turn these on, it's going to start merging everything else and then rebasing along the way. And okay, cool. Sweet. Get maxed. You know, that'd be hilarious if I just tell the Graphite MCP to just send it. Wouldn't that be fire? Just like YOLO review. But I think that's the whole point. It's like, I'm trying to move a little bit back to some good engineering practices to actually sort of review the code and force me to think about it. Because like, there's just in talking and reviewing this, I have so much of the architecture I want to change. But right now I'm just trying to ship this feature live. And so the architecture that I want to change is like, I'm obviously going to have way more features beyond Halloween. I'm going to have Thanksgiving. I'm going to have Christmas. I'm going to have New Year. I'm going to have Valentine's Day. I'm going to have birthdays. So I want to be able to have some flexibility with that. That's kind of where I have to like re-architect everything. In the rush to get everything shipped, this is kind of where I'm thinking about like, that's why I'm, you know, doing this right now. Is it the like most preferred architecture? No, we're kind of on a time crunch. So you have to make trade-offs, right? I could spend half the day or 2 days trying to implement a feature that can work well in the future, or ship something today, get feedback from you as a customer, and let me know what I can keep changing and keep iterating and so forth. So while I do that, you know, I can basically rebuild the architecture as I go and spend more time to think about it. So I have two different things, right? I have a flexibility enough to ship features fast and review the code, but also at the second time, I can probably think about a better architecture and then use that going forward. And that'll be like the big rewrite. Luckily, this type of stuff is not extremely complicated, but there's a lot of moving pieces, as you can see. And it's part of the reason why I do planning, because if the plan isn't clear to me, guess what? It's not going to be clear for your agents as well. So a big portion of this live stream was spent in the planning phase. And then the second part of it was spent in the actual like building phase. So building everything, testing it, iterating, making the changes as we go. And then now in the ship phase, we're actually now shipping it live after doing these code reviews. And so after that, once all of these changes have been merged in, you can kind of see them working through, or we're kicking off different deployments in Vercel. So Vercel kicks off the deployments. And then now we're, you know, as each change is landing, as each PR lands, it's basically doing that there. So if you want to see what that looks like inside of GitHub, if we go to github.com on GitHub and we go to my app AnimeLeak, from here, we're seeing the pull requests. So there's these lists of pull requests, and you can kind of see them being worked through with different submissions. And so this is kind of what's happening. We already did the code review with Graphite. And so this is kind of like what that conversation looks like. You see this pull request is not mergeable via GitHub because of a downstack PR is open. Once all the certifying requirements, I'll stack onto GitHub on Graphite. So I'm using Graphite, and it's helping me with the code review as well. And you can kind of see what that activity looks like here. Obviously, all this stuff integrates really well with Vercel and everything. So once we have all the different here ready to merge, so this is just going to keep working through, and I have that working with that there. So yeah, legit, there's a time and place for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so here we are. It's basically being ready to merge. Oh, I didn't. This one merged when ready. Let's see. Well, merged. Did we get stuck? Let's see. Merge when ready. Okay, so it's, oh yeah, it's waiting to merge. It's now merging, waiting to merge. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be merging this in soon. So refresh. And yeah, it needs restack. Okay, cool. So here we are. It's now being restacked itself. Already merged, continue to restack. Yeah. Restack this PR onto the latest. I think it does a restack right here, right? This PR was merged, was based on a merged branch. You need to restack and submit this PR to learn more. Okay. Wait, let's see. View stack. Let's see here. Learn more. Okay, so PR 14. Oh, it's rebasing. Okay, so it's taking care of itself. My bad. Yeah. So this was just, okay, you can, yeah, because at any point in time, you can click through each of these little PRs, and it's going to give you that little information here. And so we're just letting it do its thing. And each of the way, we're seeing the different deployments kick off. So now it's kicked off a couple more deployments. So this is now like the rebase build, and this is the next build here. So this is taking a little while. But after that, we'll have everything all merged in. To me, like using this type of discipline is probably a lot better than just YOLO submitting everything. While I can YOLO submit, it's pretty fun to do that, but obviously not recommended. But when we're checking out these branches and rebasing, you can kind of see them being built here in the preview branch. And then once they get merged back into main, as you can kind of see here for this main branch, this is where it gets deployed to production. So as of now in production, we have the latest code for the Halloween mode, image generation flow. That's basically stack number 13 here. And so we still have this other code that's still going to be deployed, and it's going to be deployed soon. So once all of this stuff is deployed, I should be able to log in as the admin and on animeleak.com, turn on the new features so that everyone can start using the Halloween mode. So that'd be really cool. So with the Halloween mode, for those who are wondering, let me just go back to /admin. Okay. This is kind of what we're talking about here. And if you don't want Halloween mode, we could turn it off. So theoretically, if I turn this off, it should work. Unless I find a new bug. I should have probably tested that mode. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so it should still work without Halloween mode on, which would be cool. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, for backend APIs, it's still slow, but when it comes to writing code and doing complex things, the factory Droid improved over 10,000 times, 10 million times. Yes. Yeah. So I forced myself to use Cursor today because I wanted to kind of check out to see how their latest changes are working with my workflow. You know, that's a really good question. Will I continue to use this workflow? So like you can kind of see with Halloween mode off, it does this. And then if I toggle Halloween mode back on, you know, we can kind of do the things. So yeah, will I like, let's just talk about this a little bit. I think there's a lot of different comparison points. So will I continue to use Cursor 2.0 or will I switch back to Droid? What's the consensus here? For those who don't know, I use Droid pretty frequently. It's almost like my daily driver for AI coding. One, it's like really fast. Two, I like the spec mode. And, you know, three, it just follows a lot of my rules and works really consistently, works really quickly. One of the things that I like about Cursor is the user interface. So the good thing is that it's not an either or type of operation, is that I can bring the droids inside of Cursor and it works as far as being integrated. So I can run my droids and then I can click files and then it pops them into the code review or anything that I want to do there. What I do miss out when I don't have that is this nice little agent window to review the code and work in this type of manner. So at the very beginning, when we were doing our planning, I can't tell you how nice it was just to have this beautiful UI view to go back and forth and play around with things and ask questions, and then even do a thing called like the WorkTree, which we were able to compare 3 different examples of a plan, and then from then on move forward. I had some hiccups here, and this is something that I'm still trying to learn in the new Cursor 2.0 workflow, is this differentiation when you move from a work tree back to a local branch. There are some caveats, especially if you're building with Convex. If you're building with Convex right now, the node modules will depend on what's locally stored on the machine, and I'm not entirely sure how to get that linked so it starts working from a work tree, and that's going to be determined, and that's probably something I have to work with both teams to understand. Like there must be some configuration file, there must be some other things. In the interest of keeping the stream going, I just said, let's just work off the main branch and do some of the stuff I worked off there. So we transitioned the plan from the work tree into the main thing. And I think that was just the best way that I was able to move forward with. And as far as like daily drivers and code execution, it moves pretty fast. I use Sonnet 4.5 also in Droid, but I prefer the speed at which Droid works, right? And one of the things about Droid, which is nice, is that I can keep one chat going for like 500 plus messages. And the reason why I can do that is because of the way that they manage the context. And that's called like an agent harness or whatever they call that. And so their capability to keep things going without you having to start new chats and lose context and reintroduce things is part of their secret sauce. And they're really aggressive about that. By the way, I'll actually be interviewing one of the persons who works on the Droid team about that specific feature. So that's going to be coming this Sunday. So make sure you stay tuned in and subscribe. Obviously, you know, for the algo, we got to do these little like things and stuff like that. So just FYI for that. Definitely stay tuned because I think it's going to be a really cool conversation. I guess it's time to check out Factory Droid now. If you haven't, okay, so rfer.me/factory, https:/rfer.me/rayfactory. That'll get you, if you haven't had a chance, check that link out. To sign up, it'll get you 40 million tokens for free to just get started. So that's awesome, right? If you normally sign up, I think you get 10 million or 20 million. I would highly say definitely check it out, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the best way there. As far as this, let's see where we're at right now with Graphite. So rebasing. Okay, what is refresh? Deployment overview. We're almost live, folks. Once we get that live, then that'd be really cool. So we're currently rebasing. We have a couple more PRs to submit, And then this thing will just be like totally live, and then we can test it out. So anyone who goes to AnimeLeak right now, animeleak.com, if you sign up, like a person just signed up right here, I'm going to add, give you 100 credits. So everyone who's been signing up, I've just been giving credits to everyone, just kind of YOLO on the fly. It's because I want you to try the new Halloween mode. And so I think that's kind of where we're at here. There's some people who abuse the coupon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's why I'm just assigning this stuff live. Yeah, this is way easier. Okay, cool. So here we are. 15, ready to merge. Okay, let's merge it, baby. We're almost there. Cool. We're about to have everything set up. We'll merge when ready. So I think it's just waiting on the build here. Did it find any? So Codex did a review, but the hook's dependency array does not include Halloween mode. Use callback, closes over the value to render, defaulting to false. Toggling the Halloween mode will update the visuals, but every upload will still pass false. Okay, I want to check this bug. This is a really good bug. I'm going to duplicate this chat. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in Droid. I like Droid so much, I'm going to do that. So right now we're currently on the head of this one. Oh yeah, it's doing all this rebasing and stuff. And I'm just going to let it do its thing because it's now pulling down all these fixes and things. So here we are. Yeah, I think once this is done, I'm going to do this bug review, and just because that's a really good bug for it to review. Actually, I'm going to duplicate this chat. Instead of duplicate, I'm just going to run a Droid. So run a Droid in here. Droid. Okay, downloading an update. Cool. So I'm going to go into, so right here it says auto high for all commands. Sonnet, we have basically Sonnet extended thinking. I'm going to do shift tab, go to spec mode, research only. I want you to do a quick review and see if this is true. I also want you to use ref MCP and exa code MCP for the convex way, as I'm trying to evaluate the feedback for this bug report. Okay. So now I'm basically letting Droid do its thing. I'm going to see if I can pop this into the editor area. That way it kind of takes its own life up here as a Droid. And then these guys stay down here. And then we're going to watch the Droid do its thing here. So now we're basically watching the Droid do this bug review, and it's using exa code to execute and get some documentation on Convex, like with React query and these things. So it has some context on how that works. And then it's going to just kind of check some things there. So while it's doing that, we're going to be watching this. Everything should still be working. So now we're at the last phase. We're basically rebasing before. Oh, now it's ready to merge. Let's go. All right. So AnimeLeak, just checking our deployments now. Okay, here we are. Okay, so we're almost ready. Okay, it's merged. Yay. Okay, so now theoretically on AnimeLeak, we're building. So this is going to be our merged build. So this will have the admin dashboard, and it should have all of our different changes in here. And once this is done, it should now enable me as an admin to go in and turn this feature on live for everyone. So if you're logged into AnimeLeak right now, just wait. And then as soon as we're marking it live, then we should be able to kind of see everything here. So this will be really fun. So we'll see. Here, AnimeLeak, building the latest. Okay, so here we are building the latest, and animeleak.com. All right, are we done? Are we done? Are we done? Are we done? Okay, so we're done. Okay, cool. So let's go to AnimeLeak. I'm going to kill this one here, and then I'm going to go /admin. Nice. Oh, wow. Y'all generated some crazy images. Come on, man. Let's see. This is hilarious. I don't know what this is. Let's go ahead and toggle the Halloween mode. Okay. Okay, so Halloween mode is updated. And now if we just go to AnimeLeak. Cool. So this is now live. And then we should now have like my... Okay. Let's do this one. Let's go. So this is now live on AnimeLeak.com. So if you go to AnimeLeak.com, I'll put this in here in the chat. And then if you can sign up, it's free. You're basically, you know, like it's actually powered from everyone who's become a member from the very beginning, and also people who have like sponsored the show. So like Factory Droid and also Graphite, that money has gone to like helping improve the channel, but also providing some of these credits so that I can like do this for you guys. So right, like while I'm paying out of pocket, you know, they've paid money to the channel to help support and kind of keep it going. So definitely a huge shout out to them, and you know, for allowing us to kind of play around with these things, because this is how I'm learning and this is how I'm going to be able to kind of give back to everyone here. So like, I don't know what, let me try another transformation here. That's why I want to give people lots of credits, because I need to test this out, because it's not always very consistent, and I want to figure out like if it's the toggle that's me, or is it just here issue. So let me try again. There should be like a regenerate button. Yeah. Okay, so spooky transformation for all users. Yeah. So I go back here, and then I think everything should be merged. Let me fetch all remotes. Cool. So yeah, this should have all of the changes now merged right in. And then we're here. Okay. So what's it doing now? So it says, okay. So your React app fetches data using this. Okay. Okay. Oh, I see. What I'm going to do is just gonna, let's see. I may have to do some bug fixes live. Okay. So here we are. Let me refresh this here. Okay. So it doesn't appear to have like that fun Halloween theme feel, even though it's enabled. And so, yeah, let's see. Let me just refresh. Okay. Oh, they are working. Oh, look at this. That's pretty awesome. That's hilarious. So now if we go to AnimeLeak.com. Okay. Maybe it's just the cache in my app or something. That's hilarious. Oh, that's awesome. These are sweet. I really... Yeah, let me restart and sign off and sign in again. So yeah, let me sign out. Yeah. Oh, this is crazy. That's hilarious. This is cool. This is really, really cool. I like this. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So yeah, let me go ahead and start creating here. So if I start creating, I'm gonna go here, sign into like all my Gmail accounts. Let's see. Cool. So now that we have this set up here, let me just try some other images like here, like my friends. Whoops, I did this one here. And then let me just try another one as well. Uh-oh, did my thing freak out? Okay, here we are. Yeah, I'm just like refreshing. Okay, so did it. This is hilarious. This is so funny. I love this. Oh my God, that's so cool. That is so, oh, I'm going to send this over to them. Like they're going to love this. Yeah. I'm going to send it over to them right now. I think that's adorable. Let's see. That's so cool. Wow. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm going to feature this as well. Show in public gallery. So if I go to admin now, okay, I should be able to approve that. Approve. Sweet. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really, really cool. So there's some other ones here. So these are the ones that people are approving right now or asking for approval. That's so cool. So AnimeLeak.com. And if I just open up AnimeLeak, when I'm not signed in, you'll basically be able to see. This is really cool. I like this a lot. This is super cute in terms of like adding the Halloween themes. And so you can start creating literally just by having like the Halloween mode right now turned on. And then that's how you're going to be able to kind of drop these images. And if you have this turned off, it's going to turn like the normal mode. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Holy smokes. Yeah, there's been a lot that's been going on. Holy cool. So there we are. Basically what we've done so far is we've been able to ship this whole feature, basically using Cursor, right? So the Cursor 2.0, we got to play around with the new agent window. We got to play around with like making plans with it. There's some stuff to improve as far as visual things that can be helpful for WorkTrees. So that's kind of one of the things we did in there. There's like Cursor team ships so fast that they already have another update. I just installed one before the stream. There's like another update for us to install, probably to fix a bunch of things here. And then the next thing that I want to do is probably tomorrow I'm going to use the droids and stuff to ship some features because I want to see how this compares to shipping with droids. I move pretty fast when I ship with like the command line with Droid and then having Cursor as an interface. This new agent workflow is really interesting from Cursor because now we've been able to kind of see like everything. You saw how I prompted, you saw how we came up with the feature design, you saw how much time we spent in the planning mode, you saw the different bugs we encountered and how we fixed them and so forth. Is it the most like the best implementation possible? No, because we had to ship the feature today because today's Halloween, right? When we're thinking about Thanksgiving, I have a little bit of time before that happens. So I want to probably re-architect that because I also need to get ready for Christmas. I also need to get ready for these other types of events. So imagine uploading one of these images and generating a Christmas card from it. How fun is that, right? So you can use this for now. If you just go to animeleak.com and just go ahead and sign in and get 10 credits. And anyone who's signing in right now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just offer you some credits for free. And the way I'm going to do that is literally just going directly to my database, right in production, just YOLO giving everyone credits. So there have been several people who have signed up and now you've got like 100 something credits. So this person who just signed up, who did a couple transformations, guess what? You're going to have 106 credits. So if you check right now, your little meter is not going to show 106. Part of the reason why that is because of Convex. You can do that live, which is really, really amazing. And I think it's kind of my favorite thing. So who else is signing up? This person just used a credit. He has 97. This person who just signed up has 8. You're going to now have 108. I want people to kind of try this stuff out because I feel like this is going to be really fun for everyone. And if you want to just add some more credits, it's just $5 to get like 400 something credits. So for me, I get a lot of value in people trying it out and giving me feedback. This person who's used almost 4 credits, now you have 104. Thank you so much for using the app. I'm just scrolling down looking for everyone and seeing, who needs some credits up in here because people who have been using the app, I definitely want to reward you guys. Someone who just signed up, thank you for signing up. Guess what? You get, instead of 10 credits, you get 100 credits just for free. So like right that. Let's get you 111. Why not? This person, so it's really, really cool. This person's at 96. Let's get you at 109. Let's go here there. Yeah, let's go. 109. Let's go. Just hooking people up with credits right now. It feels like Christmas, just kind of doing this type of thing. This person signed up, we got 10, is going to get you 100. Let's go. 100. Just getting everyone who recently just signed up, just 100 credits plus, right? So yeah, thank you so much. Because yeah, we have the new Christmas feature. So the other thing that I want to implement, and maybe I'll do a plan on this, is like, I'll kick this off right now, actually. So I want to make sure I pull the latest features is because I need to add emails. I'd love to send an email to everyone saying, hey, I just launched this feature, but guess what? I don't have email stuff integrated into my app. So only way people are getting emails if they're getting them through Clerk. So if you forget your password or do anything like that, that's the only way you get an email. I don't have my email service hooked up for this app. So I'd love to have that because now I'd just love to let people know I've updated this app. There's new features. As far as Clerk, and number of users who have currently signed up. As of right now, let me just go ahead and run the stats real quick because this is going to give me an overview of how many users are currently active. So I have 100 plus users that are currently active in my app right now that just signed up. And so I need to email like 100 users and say, hey, I just shipped this new feature with Halloween. And because today is Halloween, it's a special and I'm giving people credits. So I want to make sure that you get signed in. And if you generate some images today, in Halloween mode, you can kind of generate, a bunch and send them to your friends. So the way I'm going to go ahead and do that is I might just if we hang out on the stream, if you have any questions, I'm just going to keep kind of cooking and I might just use the Droid for this because that'd be really cool. So I know that Resend has a component for emails. So Resend, and I think their pricing, if I remember correctly, is free for like 3,000 emails. And so I can send 3,000 emails and up to 100 emails a day. So the problem is I have 108 people. So if I send 108 emails, I won't be able to send it unless I pay $20 a month, right? So there's no daily limit there. So I'm already past that threshold. So I have to pay $20. But, I think at least I should just try with like one email or maybe try with people who recently signed up. And as far as getting started, I think Convex has a resend. So Convex has a thing called Convex components. So what's cool about Convex is it's so composable in terms of like these special pieces of code that I could basically import. And with that, if I type in resend, so this integration with this third-party service, all I have to do is just run this command to install it with Convex and make this silly face. And then from here to get started, all I have to do is just in my config file for Convex is add this thing for resend. And it looks like I just basically make this emails.ts. And then all I have to do is call the resend component from the component that we just installed. And then we just run a function for internal mutation. That way it's not exposed to the front end. And then this is going to now allow us to send an email by literally just saying, this is from Ray Fernando at, AnimeLeaks.com or something like that. And we're just going to say whatever we want. Hey, there's this new feature release XYZ, and that's it. That's crazy, right? Like how fast it is. And then if I wanted to set up a webhook, so while the setup we have so far will reliably send emails, you don't have feedback on anything. So that's like delivering, bouncing, or triggering like spam complaints. So that way, like we need to set up a webhook apparently. So this is me learning. I don't know anything about this yet. So we're going to learn about this together. And I feel like that's going to be probably tomorrow's live stream that I can get set up. But this is a sneak preview of kind of what we get into. And if I get some time today, I might try to start this plan with you guys live. So if you want to see this live, let me know. Just drop the comments below and we'll start to make the plan right now while we're waiting for, because the feature is currently live on AnimeLeak. And I think it'd be really good to see you kind of how I come up with these plans and stuff. So registering an email status event handler. So here we have the update to send emails. And this is how they have like an event handler for on an email event, we consume it. And then the example TS. Okay. So resend component options are going into production. So there's an API key, there's a webhook secret, there's test mode. So there's all these parameters. These are pretty involved, but this would be pretty cool. If you have trouble setting up email, I think this would probably be a really good live stream for you to tune into because this is probably something that I want to learn more about. And I think this would be a really good one because you got to email your folks. Like whenever you ship updates like this, like I just did, now 100 people don't even know that I shipped an update unless you're watching this live stream. So like I think the way people will find out is if they share the image back and they find out, oh, that's from AnimeLeak. Oh, I'm already signed in. So like, but other than that, like there's a bunch of other people I'd love to reach. They already have like 100 people who've signed up to my app. So why not, reach out to them and say, hey, this is it. So this is going to be, as you can tell, like it's fairly involved, but this type of documentation is something that I want to like kind of chew on with the agent together, just to make sure I don't like overcomplicate it, because I just want to send emails as like a blast and then have like people reply back and just make sure I'm not missing anything. So I want to sort of simplify this. And the good thing is that Resend API is really easy to implement. Easy. And then there's a component inside of Convex that deals with this. So Convex components are really special things. And then what I might do is reach out to my friend Mickey or Ross Mike. If you see him on X, Ross Mickey, I think is what he goes by. And I might just hit him up and just say, hey, yo, let's get on a live stream. Can you just teach me about components and stuff? Bro, did his account get wiped, bro? No way, bro. Ross? Oh, Ross Mike? Did he just, okay. Oh, he must have just changed his name with a new thing. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, for branding. Okay. Yeah, this guy, if you haven't had a chance, definitely follow him. He is amazing. He offers tons of value for like coding in general. And he now works as a dev at Convex. And so he's sharing a lot of best practices and things. And I think this would be a good guy to reach out to for me to learn a little bit more about Convex, like the components. I've been a huge fan of Convex for a while, if you know, from my live streams. And I just love this idea of just having a lot of the data just being on Convex, and then my app just becomes reactive as a result. And it's kind of fun because you're seeing like, as I just update these values live, you're seeing it live in your account. So anything that's reactive with the code, you kind of see that there. So anyone who's signing up to AnimeLeak.com, you can try out the new feature, which basically enables this new Halloween mode. And people are already doing that. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I probably need to prove for the thing. So that's that there. And I just want to make sure I'm pulled into the latest things here. So, all right, cool. So I just want to make sure that we're all done with all of our shipping because we're definitely, I think we're all merged. So now that we're all merged, okay. Let me go back to the inbox here. So waiting for reviewers, disabled by default. Okay. Okay. So, oh, this is part of the different stack. Okay. So this is the big stack that we kind of merged in here. So here we are. We have already published all the changes. Oh no, this is a different app. Okay, cool. So waiting for reviewers, drafts. Okay, recently merged. So this is the Halloween one we recently merged in. Cool. So this is everything we've merged. This is currently live in production. And what do we do here? Cool. Awesome. And so I want to go back to the main. So this shows us all the different fixes we checked in. I'm going to go back to the main. I'm just going to pull everything here. Sync branch. Cool. So now we're back at the main. We should have all the recent code in here and we should let it kind of work through its problems. Okay. So I don't think do I still have this bug or issue? Let's see. No, keep iterating spec. Okay. So what I want to go ahead and do is probably clean up everything here and just start kind of fresh again. So I want to start fresh, kill this droid and kill this thing here, and then kind of go back to like my main editor. So I'm going to go back to editor mode up here. And now I'm back into like in my normal editor mode. And I also want to get this update from Cursor, and let's go ahead and install that as well. So what does it say here? It says you can schedule resend email in batches. So batch 1 will send at 11:50 and batch 2 will send at 12:10 a.m. Oh, that's cool. I think that's really cool. Send the day after also. Oh, you should have a glance at MinMax M2. You have unlimited pro access until November 5th. So is that the one from Kilo Code? MinMax M2, I think, right? Oh, yeah, the open source one. Who's hosting the model? Fireworks? Because Droid lets you run, like you can bring your own models to Droid. So I'd love to use the Droid harness with MinMax. I bet you it will cook. Models, all models. Because if Fireworks AI hosts it, bro, we're cooking, bro. That's all. Like that's let's cook. Like let's just set it up. Okay. So featured providers. Okay, Fireworks. Hold on. So MinMax M2. Hosting providers. So who's hosting this right now? Open router? But I want to go directly to a specific provider. I don't want to go through Open Router because Open Router can like give me a provider that's trash and I don't like that. Let's see. Providers. Shoots, Vercel, Atlas Cloud, Fireworks. So they do host it on Fireworks. So here's the different views. So the context window we get on Fireworks is 200,000, but the output is only 4K. Interesting. So that's an interesting thing there. The other thing that's interesting is Novata AI has like the bigger context window and their max output seems to be a lot bigger. They're charging the same price. That's interesting. So I need to find out what this is all about. That's new to me. I don't know any of these providers. Like I need to do some more research right now. Let's do that right now. Okay. So data privacy and everything. So ChatGPT and what's on my mind. Paste this in. Okay. Providers. I have data. I needed to do some research here because I'm wanting to use this new model called MinMax M2, and they're hosted on these providers. And I'm trying to figure out information about where these providers live, because I want to make sure whenever I send my API requests, I want to know what data containers they are in. Are they in North America, or what regions are they operating in when I hit them for this specific API? For specific model. Okay. So I'm going to get some research going on this right now because Open Router routes the request to these providers. And so, yeah, I think did it even copy over? Yeah, Novata AI. Yeah. Provider regions. So yeah, this is going to do some homework for us here. So Atlas Cloud, I think that was one of the providers that was listed here, right? So Atlas Cloud. So let's find out more about Atlas Cloud. So company, about us. Cool. Safe, simple, scalable. Our partners, Dell, Volter, Soluna, FluidStack. Get a tailor-made audit demo. Okay, so there's a model platform, and then there's a pricing and pay-per token. Okay, so I want to see privacy in terms as well. SOC 2 HIPAA certified. Okay. So start for free, 200 Gen AI models, API access to state-of-the-art models, and like for developers, what do we get? Credits for, damn. Okay. Wow. Atlas Cloud, subscription planning. Okay. Oh, okay, so there's a different plan called Atlas Cloud. Oh my God. Okay, privacy terms. So the company is registered in New York and operate as well as other services. Okay. Let's see data, intellectual property, private acts, contribution, privacy policy. Let's review that. Okay. Okay, so what do they say here? So we care about your privacy. If you access the services from any other region in the world with different laws governing personal data collection, use, or disclose, then through your continued use of services, you're transferring your data to the US and expressly consent to have your data transferred and processed in the United States. Okay, so let's look at their privacy policy right now. So summary of key points using our table of contents. So when you visit Navigate, we may process your personal information, including how you react with us, services, and the choices you make. Some of the information may be considered special or sensitive in certain jurisdictions. For example, your origins. We do not process sensitive personal information. Do not collect information from third parties. How do you process information? We process your information and provide information and administer our services. What situations with what types of information you share. We may share your information in specific situations. Learn with who and when. Okay. So we have adequate organizational technical processes. However, no electronic transmission over the internet storage can be guaranteed. So we cannot guarantee that hackers, criminals, unauthorized third people learn more of how we keep your information safe. Okay. Wow. Retention. So how long do you keep the information? So we only keep your information as long as that is necessary for the purposes set for the privacy notice. So they're not really upfront about that. Unless a longer retention period is required or permitted by law, no purpose in this notice will require us keeping your personal information for longer than a period of time which users have an account with us. So as long as you have an account open, they have all your information. We have an ongoing legitimate business need to process your personal information and will either delete or anonymize such information, or if it's not possible, for example, because your personal information has been stored in backup archives, then we'll securely store your information and isolate it from further processing until the deletion is possible. Bruh. How long? Yeah, that's okay. That's what's called. This is from, who is this? Atlas? Yeah, Atlas Cloud. Man, this is why we have like AI to help us do with this processing. Okay. There's no geopinning. Okay. So Firework has explicit regions in these places. Atlas Cloud serverless endpoints include a domain. Novata. Okay. How Open Router handles routing. Okay, this is cool. So all of these regions have like US based stuff. And then I think, can you look up more specifically about data retention policies? And do certain providers train on that data, and what specifically are they keeping for how long? I'm just really curious, you know? Use directly from MinMax. Do they have like a website? MinMax. Bro. Hmm. I just see the hugging face. Is it this one? IO? Come on, bro. Where are they based out of? About us. Where's their privacy policy? Y'all see the privacy policy around here? I don't know. Policy. Terms of service? I don't see terms of service, bro. Like did you just like raw dog yourself? Low key, I don't just raw dog in these models sometimes, bro. Like, like I have to know what I'm getting into right now. So it's a global AI foundation model company. Like, what does that mean, bro? Like, right? Fernando is global too, because I turn my stuff onto YouTube. Anyone in the world can connect to me. Right now, where am I? In the US, right? I found in early 2022, proprietary models led by M2 Helio have advanced. Okay, so these models power major AI platforms. Okay, to date, our proprietary models have native products. Got it. Like, this is about them, bro. Like, this is hella sus. I think they're in China. I'm not making any assumptions right now. I'm really trying to understand like what I'm getting into, you know, like I know people like to be really quick about recommending things, but I want to do some diligence here because to me, this stuff type of matters, like where things are coming from, where they're stored. Like you should be asking these types of questions. You should be understanding when you use Open Router, like just by using Open Router, now you send your data across to 4 different providers in a YOLO fashion. You have no clue which provider gets selected. And then if you care about how your data is stored, like you're making requests to be stored somewhere in some type of data container. And in America, what ends up happening is that like whatever information you give away, if someone deems that like you have done a crime or something like that, they can just grab everything about you in every single container or something that they have access to. Because of an authority request, and then they can make up a story about something you did, which you never even did. And the other thing is like, if you have a company and you have API keys, you know, an employee could have done that on behalf of your company or on behalf of you. And you have no clue what has actually happened. You're just like, wait, my name's tied to it. Why? Right? That's the reason why I ask these types of questions. And if you're in a different country, the laws may actually apply differently. So you may not have that type of problem. But in the US, it's something that you should always be conscious about. I've seen crazy stories of people like with Google in their searches for location, people who are in a location who search for a certain thing. Like, let's just say somebody at the grocery store asked to borrow your phone. They do a Google search for something crazy. You get it back. You think nothing of it, right? You had it in privacy mode or something like that. You know, they enabled location. They're like, hey, this phone with this ID did this search and then they committed a crime shortly after. You're the person with this phone, you're clearly the one. And like, you're just, you know, now you have to defend yourself in a situation that you thought like, I was just innocent. I give this person my phone at the grocery store. Like they were just looking up some information to try to see if they can get an Uber or some type of family member to call. And like, you know, they probably could have been committing a crime on your phone. So you have to, for me, be a little bit more like cautious in terms of these types of things. It's like, the only reason why I bring it up is because I've seen it happen. So it's like, okay, you know, it's just something to think about that I never thought about before. And when in America, we have the option as US citizens to say, you know, you're asking me for permission. You have to ask me to give my data away to you. Once I give that data away to you, now like you can do what you want as a company, but you don't have to have access to everything, right? And then there's a whole approval process to get through different things. This is why we have due process. This is why we have these different things and laws and stuff like that. So that's kind of why whenever new models come out, like especially like this from a hosting provider, like, you know, I go to the MinMax website, like, look at this. I have no information about what specifically who they are, you know, a global company. This doesn't mean anything to me. There's no more details. There's nothing else. There's no privacy policy. There's nothing, anything like that. Bro, you know, at least these other companies like that are based in the US, you know, tell you a little bit more about what they're doing, but then they're not even telling you that they delete data. And even if they tell them to delete data, they'll put it into a container until they're like allowed to. And they don't even tell you all this other stuff, right? So this is just like scratching the surface on all that stuff. And I thought I would try to take you through this exercise, a little bit of kind of, you know, how I look at these things. So An override is a page that has some info about data retention. However, you have to have a small icons for the provider name. That's correct. And even then, like you can't lock out and say, you know, certain things or whatever like that. And also, who's going to go through that exercise like I'm just doing right now? It's exhausting to look through every single provider's page and understand what they're doing. So yeah, that's what's up. That's why a 512 Mac Studio would be a nice thing. The Mac is good enough to host the models like this. Yes, so 512 Mac Studio will probably run you what, 10 to 15K in the US maybe to host, like you have enough space to host the model. But once you have that, you can kind of run them forever. The other thing that I wonder about like these models too, like are they going to get more parameters, more memory, you know, and then you have to keep beefing up your machine. So that's kind of like the thing they have there. So yeah. So you have to maintain your chain of custody for your API keys and the CLI. Yeah. 10.5K. Okay. That's a really good point. So, okay, cool. So let's see if what we're doing here. So as of now, I have this stuff kind of merged back into main, and we have our app here, AnimeLeak. So that was kind of like a nice little detour that we did there. And then kind of showing you a little bit of the thought process of how I think about these types of things here. So let's go back out here. So the next thing we want to do is set ourselves up. Let's see if anyone else is signed up for AnimeLeak. So if you go to AnimeLeak, you should be able to kind of now generate the new Halloween features, which is pretty fun. And the next thing that we probably want to do is I want to set up a quick plan for the Droid in main. And let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to kill some of these things here. And I'm currently on the main branch here with the graph. Okay, cool. So in the editor view, what I'm going to do is just pull up Droid. Hello there, Droid. Right click and say move window to the terminal. Okay, so here we are. And now that we're here, I'm currently in search spec mode. So the thing that I want to do is integrate the, plan mode. Okay, cool. So so I made a bunch of changes. Okay. So in here, we're going to go give it some of the Resend stuff. Okay. Help me come up with a plan and spec to integrate emails into my app. I want to be able to send emails to users who are currently active and tell them about new features that I've just announced. For example, I just released the new Halloween feature where people can generate images using the new Halloween toggle. And I want to use Resend for the email, and Resend has an ability to integrate with Convex using components. So the key here is to be able to use the new components feature along with the Resend integration using Convex. Here is some documentation that you can read about for the component. I want you to use the exa code MCP along with ref. Use ref for search to help you with your planning. I think that's it. Yeah. So we're gonna now watch the Droid set up the plan stuff. And what's gonna be cool is like, I'm gonna see if I can copy and paste this and then see if I can go to like the actual agent from Cursor and do the same plan in parallel. So I'm gonna do plan mode, and I'm gonna leave Sonnet as the main model here. And in the local environment, I'm gonna just give it basically this type of thing, Command-Shift-V. So this is the exact prompt that I basically typed in, and we're gonna let it go. So we're now comparing Sonnet to Sonnet, but we're gonna compare the two in each of their respective apps. So Droid is here, currently running, looking up plans and getting information, as we see here. And then over here, we have Cursor, and it's currently working on its thing. So I'm going to remove this to the side. And so the right bar is Cursor. On the left bar, we have, the Droid, and we're actually seeing the context window in real time on Cursor. And in Droid, that's kind of managed automatically. So we don't really have to think about that too much. And here we are. So yeah, this is really cool. Let's see. Awesome. Yo. Cool. So I reviewed the Convex Resend components and your documentation. Before creating the plan, I need to clarify some implementation details. So which types which of these do you want to implement first? A feature announcements only, like Halloween toggle, or transactional emails, welcome credit purchase, or both? So as of now, I want to integrate both, actually. Yes, that's exactly it. Because when people sign up, they don't get like a welcome email. They don't get anything. It's just raw dog, play with the app type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 there. And then 2. Do you want to use React email for building templates? Yes, use the React email with JSX templates or use, okay. Yes, I would love to use React email, and I want you to do some research. Use ref for search and use Exacode MCPs to learn more about this for integrating with Resend. And then 3 is email triggers. How should email triggers be sent? Manual trigger from the admin dashboard, automated based on events, user, feature launch, etc. Both manual and automated. I'd like the ability for both manual and automated. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to tell it that plan there on cursor, and then that's going to keep going here. And then here for Droid, here's the huge implementations. Damn, this is crazy detailed. Okay. So what did it come up with here? So it says email notification system implementation plan. So integrate the official, whoa. Okay. Kind of slid down on me. What did we finish here? Okay, here we have. So it's going to do the Convex resend component thing. It's going to have the create this, and it's also ask for the environment variables. And then, cool. And then we have the schema. Whoa. Oh, it's taking over because of what Cursor's like, no, you're using me right now. Guess what? I'm going to take over your screen. Just as we're reviewing the plan. Okay, so this came up with the details. So one of the things that I appreciate here about Cursor's plan mode is the fact that it asks us some clarifying questions, where the Droid one, we're going to go ahead and review a little bit of details, but I do like this idea because this is something I'd probably feed back into the Droid plan just to make sure we have this basis covered too. So this is like, it's now giving us the phases for which it'll implement. Yeah, I do like the way the Cursor's plan mode works. This is really beautiful, actually. This is interesting. Oh, this is for the styles for the email. I see. React email templates. Okay. Feature announcements email. So email. So all of these templates will live on Convex. Huh. Interesting. Credit purchase. That makes sense. So there's an email service layer now that lives in Convex with this code. This is still writing it. Okay. So while that's doing that thing, I'm going to go back over here and kind of follow up on this plan just to make sure we're good. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so this does a similar thing because it's kind of covering the same basis about what they're doing. Reusable, feature, component specific. So it just basically just went with the defaults, instead of me telling it specifically, it went with the defaults. Key functions. So one of the things about Cursor's thing is that like the readability is a lot easier because it's not in a terminal versus the thing in the Droid. And so this even gave us the code here. It's crazy that it gives us the code, straight up right at the beginning. So that's what's up. So get users eligible for the campaign, haven't been sent the campaign or opted into. So that's an interesting opt-in thing. Preferences. Yeah. Okay. Get users preferences for email. Yeah. This is super important. I didn't see this in the Cursor plan. Admin dashboard integration. Wow. I'm not going to lie, this detailed plan, well, I can read the code, but like, if you don't read code, maybe you can ask the Droid to give you in a non-code fashion. But this is actually really good. Enable all email events. Okay. Simple toggle component for user page, allowing users to opt in and out of the feature. Implementation order is this. This is a really good order. Add admin campaign trigger to the dashboard. This is good. This is really good. Spooky new Halloween mode. This is crazy. Oh, try Halloween mode and it has mode Halloween. Oh, that's cool. I like this. Wow. Let's see. So it already covered templates by, let's see. Yeah, create email templates in here. And then, yeah. Welcome to React onboarding. Okay. Email template with React email. So it has a template. This is that template here. It's not as detailed as the cursor one, but I mean, like, this is just for the spec/plan, right? Wow. So I want to be sure, not gonna lie, having these both plans pulled up side by side like this is really interesting. So I'm learning from Cursor about one plan. I'm learning from Droid about the other. And I kind of like the details all in the Droid plan right now. Those are looking pretty nice. The Cursor asked me some really great questions, which I really do appreciate. So I'm going to take some of those questions, I'm going to take my answers and feed that back into the Droid and let it know about kind of the direction to make sure we include these types of things. So I'm going to say, I've reviewed your complex line. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, keep iterating on spec. And I'm going to say, here are some questions and answers. Okay. Question and answers to improve our plan spec. So I'm going to say questions. Questions. So I close out the tag and then the answers. Answers. And then send that back. Cool. So basically what I did was I basically gave it the same question, the questions that Cursor was asking me and then the answers that I provided so that we can update our spec, that Droid currently made. So these clarifications actually help it. So it's really interesting. We're kind of actually leveraging both models, one for planning and the other one for the planning as well. And all of these little details actually help it out. So this type of plan thing is like comprehensive information about React email, Convex node actions. And so you can kind of see the Droid kind of doing its thing here. As far as Cursor, that whole conversation we had with Cursor to generate the plan was about 68,000 tokens out of 976. So if you're wondering like how much context window that takes up, I think that's really interesting here. So after giving Droid that information, what this ended up doing is it made an MCP call to look up some more information about the React templates and other things that it's doing here. So I thought that was really interesting insight that it's kind of taking on here. And now it's using that additional information as like, so these are the actual documentations that I'm searching based off that context. And now it's actually using that, even like Convex backend blobs in these different packages for like their runtimes to have the right patterns to implement here. So I do find that really interesting that it's doing that here. And I think this one did the similar thing. So it searched now for like email templates and these different things. That's why we have this nice integration plan as well from Cursor. This is kind of like a toss up. They're almost pretty tied. If you're just living in Cursor land right now, 2.0, I mean, you're going to be pretty well set to continue building off this plan because it's extremely comprehensive. And it's very, very detailed, which is really, really nice. So like Droid or Cursor, I feel like they're kind of a tie right now in the planning mode. In fact, I think Cursor went a little bit further with asking questions for clarifying things, which I do appreciate. I may have to ask that in my prompt next time in Cursor's spec mode / plan mode to ask me questions. Because I know when people have inserted that into their prompts, you do get questions back that could be useful. So maybe it's possibly part of the stack inside of Cursor by default. But what's nice about Cursor's plan mode, it kind of forces you into that thinking without actually having to prompt it, especially if you're kind of new to maybe developing with AI. That can be helpful. It kind of gets you into that mode. So I do actually appreciate that, which is nice. Let's go back to the Droid and see what it's doing here. So it's going to go ahead and invoke some more tool calls. So yeah, so what we're doing so far is now getting back into like the Resend Convex components thing. This is something we're going to be integrating. And so if you want to tune in tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and continue off this plan that's being built. And we're going to just integrate this live. So that'd be really cool. And if you want to go ahead and check out AnimeLeak. So AnimeLeak.com is my free app right now that you can try out for free. It's to give you 10 credits. And you can try the new Halloween mode features and stuff like that. So in that, if you just upload an image, you'll get a nice little Halloween type of thing, which is kind of fun for Halloween. And you can kind of share with your friends and so forth. If you are currently signed in right now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is any users who have currently signed up during this live stream, and even afterwards, if you're rewatching this live stream, I'm going to take a look and just add some more credits. Everyone who gets 10 credits has just been bumped up to over 100. So that way you can kind of do some generations and share them back with everyone else. So if we sign out here, we can kind of see some of the other stuff that's kind of showing up in the gallery. And so this is the public gallery right now. My friends here, if you upload here, you can kind of see the ghost magic and stuff, which is really, really cool. So yeah, this is a pretty fun theme. This is something that I'm working on. It's just really fun to kind of transform your images and kind of leak some anime into real life. And I'm using this app as a way to kind of learn more about like how to ship software, how to use these AI agents. If you're definitely down to try that out, you know, subscribe to this live stream. This is kind of what we do here. Checking out these latest models, checking out the latest updates from Cursor, checking out the stuff from Droid, and shipping software, actually kind of going through this type of thing. Because I think this is, to me, this is really fun to be able to be in this age of AI, being able to utilize these types of apps to ship software. So we see the latest plan that has come back from Droid, even more details that we have from, you know, from like then we had more than Cursor and stuff like that. And even has the implementation order with all these really nice details, actually. Here's the implementation mode, test modes. These are nice. This is example Halloween campaign. Like this is really good. Ad clerk email integration, currently using placeholder emails. Yeah, this is amazing. So yeah, I like this notification of when it's low credits. And if you want to tune in, so yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be doing another live stream right around this time. And we're going to be shipping some more features live. And this is what I'm going to keep doing. I'm basically turning this app into my official SaaS app. So I have many apps that I ship, and we've been able to go from idea to, you know, from 0 users to now like over 100 users, you know, in the last month or so from just starting this app. So this app idea, I cloned it live. We started to change the prompts. And once we changed the prompts, we added some features and we added authentication. We added Polar for the payments. And then from there, you know, with the integration with Convex. And then from there, we also added the gallery features. We added a landing page. We were even able to do a design session. That's where we have this really cool animated design. All of this stuff was coded live, you know, vibe coded technically, I guess you could say. But AI assisted coding is really kind of the future that we've been working with here. And what's been really nice is just trying to come up with plans with agents, learning those types of things and applying them in real life. And then from there, you know, adding these little polish and final touches, you can kind of see with these types of buttons and those types of stuff here. And as I move my mouse, you can kind of see the spacey stuff rolling. And then, you know, learning more about image processing and doing these types of things that require, you know, learning stuff on the fly. So this is the stuff that I do here. I really appreciate everyone who's been able to tune in. If you haven't had a chance to check out, make sure you check out Droid. If you want to get some 40 million tokens, you can do that. rfer.me/rayfactory will get you that 40 million tokens. Also Graphite, the thing I was using for the code reviews, you get basically 2 months for free if you just use my coupons called Stack with Ray. So graphite.dev, go ahead and sign up. rfer.me/graphite will take you to the Graphite download and sign up. And then you can kind of get started there. And even if you don't do stacked diffs, you can just do regular types of PRs. I can show you some of the basics. I'll have some videos later on that I'll be publishing about getting started with some of the Git stuff. Also my documentation workflows that I like to use for documenting things and many more stuff. So my name is Fernando. So happy to see you, and check out AnimeLeak before you check out everything. So ladies and gentlemen, happy Halloween and catch you tomorrow.